check. No, I don't need to check kick. Whatever, it'll kick it. It'll kick in. Oh, boom!
Oh, wow.
That joke, that pun to start the podcast.
Oh, tell me you didn't already go live.
I've already gone live, and
Oh,
what an immense start to the show.
and
Right,
everybody just left.
yeah, right. We're good. We're on both. Yep, the bitrate hasn't tanked, so we're awesome. How are you, Go?
Terrific and fantastic. It was a long night last night, and once I got out of bed today, I slept in a little bit, and now that I'm up and I'm moving around, I'm good to go. How you doing?
I'm all right, mate. How long was you on for? Because I think I stopped. I left your chat about 6 a.m. my time. I think it was after you got me killed in Ogrimmar. Maliciously got me killed in Ogrimmar.
It was beautiful. I planned it for all night. I was like, Scotty's gonna log on. I'm gonna kite him into Orgrimmar. I think I stayed up till maybe 2 my time, something like that. I don't remember. It was that kind of night.
Yeah.
I had a couple beverages.
Well, it's going to be that kind of night again, hopefully, because the one thing we do like to do on this podcast is have a few drinks, because it gets the conversation flowing, don't it? It does for me. I was going to do this whole spiel tonight that I'm going to be sober, I'm not going to drink, because I want all the spotlight on the guests and really understand what they want to say. But I couldn't be bothered. Because I've got a beer and a gin and tonic on the go. So, fairly pointless, but cool. Should we just jump straight into sort of general housekeeping? Amzambi, he gifted a load of subs on Kick before I went live, and he did specifically say, hey, you just got to make Go do the shots with you. So you might need to do some shots later. He specifically said that. But hopefully, he'll...
Maybe.
We need him to put some gifted memberships into the podcast tonight, or anyone gifted memberships into the podcast tonight, because then Go will at least get a cut of it. He's not touching my other streaming earnings. They're low enough as it is.
I mean, this is straight whiskey right here. So I wasn't taking shots, but I had planned on sipping on some whiskey for the show. So shots, I don't know. Shots on top of this. It's a thick class, man. This is a good pour. It's a healthy pour.
Yeah, there'll still be shots on top of it. But anyway, go on. General housekeeping, and then we'll get the guests on, and I'll outline what we're actually going to be talking about today. Because I think it's going to be some fun topics. Because there's not really a lot of news, so I reckon we'll be in and out of this in 2 hours tops. Hopefully.
That's a short one for us.
Yeah, well, I've got a raid, so yeah. And so have both of the guests, actually.
Maybe me too. Maybe there's a spot for me and I hop in there.
Yeah, hopefully.
But Cubicle Chat, we are a Season of Discovery podcast, but we might be branching out very, very soon and having 2 episodes a week. Can I continue to leak that information, Scotty?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we haven't locked a date down yet, but I think it's probably likely to be Saturdays. Did we say Saturdays?
Saturday sounds good. Yeah. So Saturdays are going to be Cataclysm based. Cata Classic is coming. The beta's coming. No better time to start talking about Cata. We're going to deep dive all classes, all specs, that whole thing, kind of like we did for SOD right before SOD launched. And then we're going to also continue Wednesdays. Usually today is an off day. I'm on holiday, so I'm out of town tomorrow. So we moved our normal Wednesday show to Tuesday just for this week, but should be returning back to Wednesdays for Season of the Discovery. Super chats are more than welcome. That's how you support the show. Also by just tuning in, engaging in the chat, having conversations with us. But super chatting, we can see it, we can post it up, put it on the screen. Everybody else can see it easier. If it gets lost in the chat, sometimes chat's popping off, and some people are on Kick watching, some are on YouTube. So if it's something on Kick, we can post it up. All the YouTube viewers can see it. If it's on YouTube, we can post it up. All the Kick viewers can see it.
Where's your whole last week that you done the whole intro?
No, you gave me shit for it. You're like, oh, you're not going to do that every week, are you? And I was like, well, fuck me. I guess not.
Yeah, but I was still sat here waiting for it, because when do you ever listen to anything I say?
I mean, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I just crushed my dreams though, man. My whole spirit was deflated, and I
Maybe
was
you do it for
like,
the Catter episodes because there'll only be like two
okay,
people watching.
yeah. I think there's some Kata hype, but I'm concerned about Kata as well. I was on Kata last night, as you saw. You tuned in. I was streaming on YouTube a little bit of the server that we don't speak of, and I leveled from 1 to 17, I think, over like 5 hours.
Wow, you
It
went
was
fast.
oh, dude, I was crushing through. I think the XP is like times 7, and it took me a while.
Yeah, it sounds like it. But no, the reason we're going to do 2 episodes, more so than it just being like a way to separate the content, because we do, when we're talking about Season of Discovery, pretty much every week, normally my fault, we do go a little bit off topic and end up talking about Kata. So it'd be nice to have that clear divide. You know, we've got Season of Discovery on Wednesday and we've got Cataclysm on Saturdays. And then we get to do 2 episodes because we do both really enjoy doing this and, you know, getting other guests in and stuff. So yeah, it should be fun being able to do a couple of episodes a week. And then at least we can really focus in on like class changes, which we're like, just for a bit of a heads up, like Go already said, we'll be like doing deep dives into the classes. That'll be the changes of like every ability, every talent. You know, some of them episodes are going to be probably overly long, but everybody will get so much information out of them if you are interested in Kata. So make sure you mark on your calendars every Saturday. Yeah, Cubicle Chat versus Cataclysm. Cool. I'll probably get the guests on. Both of them are returning guests. One more recently, and one, bloody hell, quite a while ago. But we love both of them. Do you want to introduce them?
Sure, yeah. In the order you just referenced them, we've got the homie Hammer Dance coming back on for the 3rd time, I think. He might have caught up to the other guest, the amount of times he's been on. The other guest, the lovely, the handsome, the wholesome Majay.
Did you forget his name?
I was gonna say Jay, and then like Jay and Scottejaye, and it was like I got to put the "m" in there. So,
well, how you doing, Jay?
I'm good. I'm enjoying a drink for the first time in probably since last time I was on here, actually.
I bring that out in people. What about you, Hammer? You good, man?
Doing great. Got my gin and tonic. I'm ready to talk tonight.
oh yeah.
Is that in reference to the Scottejaye and Winky episode of Warcraft Reloaded?
Yeah. I've become like a podcast meme now in the WoW community. So. I had someone literally whisper me in game and be like, dude, you got to talk more on podcasts.
I mean, it weren't that bad. It was just me and Winky, when we get together and we have a drink, it doesn't matter whose podcast it is, whether it's ours or someone else's, like, it always ends up like that. Like, everyone's fighting to talk over us. Cool. I mean, let's, because we've not got that much news to go through. Well, none. I don't really even want to talk about the class balancing or anything, because it's fairly minor. I'd rather talk about the future and what we're enjoying, what we're not enjoying, what we're hoping for from Phase 3, what's going to be incredibly likely from Phase 3, all of that. But first of all, what has everyone been doing? We don't normally do this, but, you know, so Hammer, what have you been up to?
So the past couple of days, I started a few days ago, but I really started rolling a Horde alt over on Crusader Strike. And I'm not usually a fan of Horde. I hate leveling in the Barrens and Duratar and all these places, but I'm doing it because I knew the XP buff was coming. So yeah, and you know, our main guild is over on Lone Wolf Alliance, so we got like at least 10 people now that rolled over to our Horde guild, Grog and Slog, and yeah, we've been just playing, having fun, and now with the XP buff, it is incredibly fast, so it's a good time.
Yeah, lucky you've got that already. Oh yeah, I need to send you a new one. Go. Yeah, we haven't got it on EU obviously, but I am going to be definitely joining you over in Grog and Slog, as mentioned before we actually went live. My warrior is nearly 19.
All right.
So yeah, hopefully I've got some stuff that I'm doing on Wrath, but yeah, I'll at least burn through its rested XP every couple of days, and I'll get there. But I know for a fact I went on it earlier on and was just in the Barrens up killing harpies. and instantly was like, this is well fun. I went from not wanting to log on and level anything to sitting there for about an hour just killing the same mobs over and over again while I was setting all my weak auras up and everything. So yeah, no doubt you'll see me in the guild over the next day or two.
Sounds good to me.
And Jay, what have you been up to?
I've been taking S&D super casually and playing a lot more ESO actually.
I heard you was playing ESO. Yeah, Lee mentioned.
Yeah, I've played it on and off for years, and there's like a new expansion coming out, so thought I'd come back and catch up, I guess.
So what are you like raiding and stuff on ESO? Is it even got raids? Like, I've not played it for years.
Yeah, so we're catching up on kind of DLC content that we haven't done, and then trying to jump into like raids over the next couple of days and like week or so. It's pretty fun.
That is, that's cool. Have you been doing anything on Season Discovery? I just feel like I should at least ask, what have you been doing on Season of Discovery? Or we turn it into an Elder Scrolls Online podcast. Up to you.
I'm not against. Yeah, I mean, I leveled one character to 40. I did the whole like sitting in Scarlet Monastery for 17 hours a day, and then I went super casual. My Warlock is pretty much done everything possible in Season of Discovery Phase 2, so yeah, I mean, just waiting for Phase 3 now.
Cool. Thank you, Warcraft Reloaded, absolute legends. And thank you, Amzambi, as well. And for the super chat and the 10 gifted memberships, absolute legends. You guys are getting off to a flying start. There'll be plenty of Jaeger bombs flying around during this episode, don't you worry. Go, what have you been up to? I'll go last, because mine is pretty boring.
I just hit 40 on my NA tune. I got almost all the way there without the XP boost, but XP boost went live. I woke up this morning a bit hungover, got on, I was watching House, and you know that sigil quest, the elite quest in Arathi Highlands. You have to go to the little storm guard or whatever. I had been farming there for it on and off the past couple levels. I got a full, like, from 38 and like 90% through that, I got like over half a level of XP just trying to farm for that quest. And then when I turned it in, I got a lot of XP just to turn it in. But man, that thing does not drop. But it was a nice kind of like mindless grind while I was just watching a show. So finally got the ult to 40. I just went to the auction house, bought a bunch of BOEs. I got my Dreamweave gloves, Dreamweave vest, red mage weave pants, whatever the belt is called, star belt. So I'm gearing up and getting ready on my NA tune. But I also played a little bit of Kata last night for the first time in a year, and there's some changes in Kata that I don't know if I was just looking for like bad stuff or what. But I mean, there's some good, some bad, but I'm definitely not like, oh my god, Kata hype, like let's fucking go. I'm kind of like hesitant, but maybe the more we dive into it, the more I'll come around. And I'm also thinking about coming back to Wrath. I want to get that heroic Lich King kill. I want to do Halion. I haven't stepped foot into Ruby Sanctum yet, so I'm all over the place right now.
That's good though. You pay your sub, and you get a lot of games. Get that value exactly.
Yeah.
The one thing I'll just say briefly about your lack of enjoyment or lack of hype around Kata is, quite honestly, there's nothing to be hyped about until you're doing endgame content like heroics, gearing up, doing raids, doing rated battlegrounds. You know what I mean? Like what you done last night, getting to 17. I can't say that I've gone on Kata before, got to 17 and gone, oh my god, this is the greatest thing ever, because all you've done was level to level 17 and done the same shit quests, but just slightly quicker than they would have been if you was doing it on Classic. I
was just looking ahead at all the spells that I was going to get, like what level I was going to get it at.
Okay,
so, to me,
that's a big issue for me. That is a very big issue for me, the way they changed, like even like when you don't get buffs until like level 50 and stuff like that. I've never been a fan of that. Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Hurricanes bumped back to level 44 instead of 40. I've been bitching and moaning about Hurricane and Sod not being available till 40, and then it sucking. There are no Hurricane changes. So, yeah, like seeing that on Cat, I was like, yo, what the hell? And then like Cyclone gets pushed back more, Bark Scan, like all these really nice spells that while I'm leveling up a fresh Troll Druid, I'm gonna not enjoy the leveling process, I feel like, as much as I could if it was better tuned. I'm not expecting changes though, like I'll still push through it. I'll level up, but probably, yeah, like 80 to 85 is probably going to be the better portion of the game.
Oh, that'll be fun, 100%. Like, it's all about the post-Wrath content, because trust me, level a Feral Druid and then come back and talk to me about what level you get spells, because I think it's like level 52 that you get Shred. It's like ridiculously high, or 46, 52, it's something like that. It's so high, and I was like, what is going on? Like, who thought this was a good idea? But, no, we've got Kata episode on Saturday. We'll worry about Kata then. But cool. What have I been up to? So I've been highly irritated by the incompetence I'm not going to say it's the incompetence of Blizzard, because it might not be bugged. It might actually just be I've got very bad luck, but I haven't, because I only need one item and I'm full bis in phase 2, so my luck can't be that bad, can it? So I knew I was healing tonight. So I've done Gnome Ragon before the podcast, and I knew I was going to go and do Gnome Ragon, and I was going to heal it. So I was like, I've been missing one rune like forever, and I've just not been bothered about going and getting it. Like since phase 2 launched, it's chronostatic preservation, because I was just like, sounds shit. I don't need it. Like I'd rather use the 50% crit damage bonus on my boots anyway, and just pump out as much damage as I can, even though I'm a healer. But I thought, well, I'm going to heal tonight, so I'll tell you what, I'm going to actually make a healing setup. I'm going to use regen. I'm going to use mass regen on fights where I need it, and I'm going to go and get this rune. So as Horde, going and getting this rune in Thousand Needles, when you land in Freewind Post, naturally you're going to jump down south and make your way clockwise around to kill these 3 things that you need to do, which, by the way, you can solo. You don't need a group. Most people group up as multiple mages to do it, and you don't need to do that. You can solo it. Now, you have to do it in a certain order, or the key for the cage doesn't work. So you've got to do a cougar, a harpy, and what's all the hunter pets use? A wyvern. But if you it doesn't say anything about needing to do it in a specific order, but if you go and do the first 2 like I did, and then you end at the cougar, which just makes sense in terms of a route, the key to open the cage don't work. So, as in, it don't drop from the mobs. And I was grinding on the mobs for an hour before I was like, this is not right. So then I looked at Wowhead comments and was like, no, other people are complaining about this as well. So I had to delete the items that I got from the first 2, do the cougar, then go and get the other 2. It was just really frustrating. But, Jesus Christ, that spell is overpowered as shit. If you want to do fast, really fast Gnome Ragon clears, have a competent mage solo heal, because chronostatic preservation is the most bonkers spell I've used to date in Season of Discovery. Unbelievable. And on NA, it's just been buffed, and on EU, it gets buffed tomorrow. 44% less mana cost, when it's not that bad as it is, and 88% more spell coefficient from it. I cannot wait to heal the next Gnome Ragon, because it was an absolute breeze today. But with that, we was 2 healing today, but with that buff, I was ending fights on 90% mana, literally 90% mana. Wow. And not having to use mana potions, nothing, and I was getting 99 passes as in terms of damage and healing. Not 99 for healing as well, but I was mainly focusing on damage, but not making sure that the other healer weren't having to carry. It's so much fun.
So before you had to stand still a lot as a mage healer. Does that allow you to move around a little bit too? Is that what makes it really good? Yeah.
So the way it works is so it's a 2-second cast, but there's no GCD for the second portion. So technically you have to press the button twice. So it's a 2-second cast, but then you could spam it, yeah? So I could literally spam it with you targeted, and it would be like me doing a holy light. You know, I'm gonna get the preservation buff, it's gonna heal you, all in the same 2-second like window. So it's literally like just spamming holy light. Or when there's a little bit of downtime, I can press it, and then I can now have an instant heal for the next like 20 seconds. So then when I need to move, yeah, I can then heal using that, and then stand still, get another charge, carry on nuking the boss. When I know I need to move again, an instant heal. And by the way, it benefits from Arcane Blast stacks as well. I'm getting like 3k crits. That's before the buff.
Wow.
It is literally mental. Without using Arcane Blast, no word of a lie, a non-crit heals me for more health than I've got. A non-crit. So I can literally heal 100% of my health, instant cast. It's mental. Like, I love it. Anyway, so I got that today and fell in love with it instantly and thought, what a moron. Why have I not been, why didn't I go and get this before? That was a long explanation just for one thing I've done. I've got the other 6 days of the week to get through yet. And the rest of it, for anyone who watches me stream, obviously I've been on Wrath. I'm pretty much just raid logging on my mage on Season of Discovery, doing Gnomeregan. I need one more item, and it's full bis ready for phase 3 anyway, which, yes, I have been very lucky. I know you don't need to tell me. So I fell in love with the mage on Season of Discovery, and then leveled a mage on Wrath, and I'm going ICC 25 heroic tonight, full clear and RS. I'm like 5.9k gear score on it now. I'll get my 4 set this week. I'm playing a lot of Wrath. I'm playing more Wrath than Season of Discovery, but that's because I can't be bothered to do the whole thing again. As in, I can't be bothered to then level another character really quick, get it to 40, and now I've just got another character to do Gnomeregan on every 3 days. The thing is, I don't find Gnomeregan that fun. It's okay, but it's not so good that I'm like, oh my god, I need more level 40s to keep doing this. It's like, no, once every 3 days is enough for me when it comes to Gnomeregan.
You like it better than BFD?
No, I prefer BFD.
Really?
BFD, BFD I wanted to do on more than one character. Gnomeregan I do not want to do on more than one character.
I just went back and did BFD for the first time a couple days ago and had a blast in it. It was like, one, because we were just plowing through it. I kind of boomy tanked Gamora, and I was only level like 35 or 36 at the time. But man, it felt good to just go back there and stomp. And even boss mechanic wise felt better than Gnomer still. Yeah.
The XP from BFD is insane today with the
the
100% increase actually applies to BFD now as well.
So it's like, what, a level and a half?
56k. Yeah, it's like a level, or maybe a little bit more than a level.
Wow, yeah.
Around level 25 to 30.
That's interesting. I mean, that may make me at least start leveling something else, just doing BFD every reset. And that's it. Mm-hmm. Just literally go do BFD every reset.
It clears your rested XP as well. So that's what I've been doing, is literally just doing BFD and clearing my blue bar.
Yeah. I've not, but I might start doing that on the Druid. And then slowly get it up. But the thing is, I'm going to slowly get it to 40, and I'm not going to do anything on it. So it's kind of pointless, because I will not. I will not go in Gnomeregan on it. Like, I don't know what it is. I like the last boss. The last boss is all right. It's still pretty boring, both as a ranged DPS and a healer. And that's it. Even Menagerie. I think once you've done Menagerie a couple of times and you really understand everything that's going on, it is actually just a really hard trash pack. That's like the way I would word it. I don't know. Yeah, it's not hit the mark, but phase 2 hasn't hit the mark for me. That's why I want us to talk about phase 3. What don't we like? What do we like? What are our hopes for phase 3? Like that sort of thing. Maybe just spur some ideas on, and then who knows? Maybe some of us might make some content because they think the ideas are really good. So I'm here to steal all your ideas.
You stole one of mine from last show, I think. What was it? The double raid thing, like
what? Sunken Temple.
Oh, okay. Well, Sunken Temple and was it Molten Core being level 50 at phase 2? I think you scoffed at that idea during the show. But
Oh,
then you
no,
made a
no,
video,
no,
you're
no.
like, oh,
No,
oi,
that's not what I said.
molten koi.
That
oi,
is
oi,
no,
level
that
50,
is not
phase
that.
3.
That is not what I said. I said that Sunken Temple was shown as a 10-man, and we know we're getting a 20-man. So could we get 2? And I said Moradon, not Molten
Which
Core.
is exactly what oh, you said Maradon?
I didn't say
Oh, I
Molten
hope not,
Core.
dude.
Yeah, no, I hope not as well.
I didn't
Don't
really
make me
watch the
quit
video.
before phase 3.
Oh, I
Yeah.
can't stand Maradon, man.
Me neither.
Ugh.
Like, it can stay as a dungeon, and yeah,
If
I
they
just
did
won't go.
BRD alongside Sunken Temple, now that would be interesting to me. I like that. I like the whole being inside Blackrock Mountain thing. It's so nostalgic to me.
Yeah, and I love Blackrock Depth. Like, just as a dungeon, it's so big, so many bosses. Like, that would make a hell of an epic raid.
Yeah, and a 20-player raid would be perfect.
Or
Yeah.
here, it could make an epic like pre-raid farm gear for level 60 if they boost some of the gear like they did for this phase. Like Scarlet Monastery had some gear upgrades, RFD had some gear upgrades. There's so much already pre-bis for next phase in BFD or BRD that if they just tuned the gear up, left it as is, I'd be happy with that.
That's true too.
Cool. All right. So I'll tell you what. Let's start with the good. We'll start with the good, and then we'll go with the bad. You know, start the show on a positive note. Like, what are the good things of Phase 2 that we want to see more of in Phase 3? I've got nothing, so I'll let you go.
I'm trying to think.
I like the fact that they've moved the gold sync from an almost mandatory rune into a crafted item. Like,
yeah.
It was one of my biggest hatreds around phase 1 was the fact that a rune that for some classes was like you couldn't play the game without that rune. But so it was almost mandatory but still so expensive. In phase 2 you can play without the helmet. You're just going to be slightly worse.
Is there a beeping to my mic? Apparently, anyone hear anything?
There was a
don't hear it.
small like hum, like it was barely noticeable. Like I didn't hear like a beep or anything.
Yeah, because I'm literally
It was
listening
like-
to myself speak as I'm speaking, and I can't hear
It sounds
anything.
better right now. Yeah, I can't hear it anymore. I don't know if you changed anything, but it was almost like a tiny bit of white noise, like a little tiny hint of static, but it was hardly noticeable.
All right, let me know if it comes back. As I say, I'm listening to myself while I'm speaking, and it sounds fine, but don't want shit sound, bruv. Sorry, yeah, go on, carry on.
Some good things for Druid at least was the leaflets. I thought that was pretty cool. It got me doing like I might not have even gone into Scarlet Monastery. And same with the upgrades I was talking about, the gear upgrades. But going into SM, I can solo the leaflets. Big flex, I know. And solo for the neck. I can solo Cathedral for the shoulders because that's pre-raid bis. Like, I like that they changed some stuff in the dungeons and made it more enticing for me to go in there. And yeah, the leaflet concept is huge. I know other classes have it too. I don't know what theirs are called, but little quality of life spell books are sick.
The quality of life changes were huge. The Warlock Closet, the Drain Soul thing is amazing for Warlocks.
The mage water, like
Yeah, but that weren't. Yeah, but that weren't a quality of life. That was a change,
No,
and
that was just a
I was
hotfix,
just
yeah.
about to comment on that. Like, what would have been so much better? That like with that, because that's quality of life. That is literally exactly what quality of life means. They should have actually put a blue post out saying we've added a new mage quality of life book. You're going to have to go out and find it, but it will allow your conjure water, to make 20. And they just stuck it on one boss. It's not got to be ridiculously difficult to work out. It could be on the last boss in library or whatever, but it actually then gets people into dungeons. It's a minor criticism. I love the fact that I can now make 20 water at a time, but they could have used a quality of life book and just chucked it on a boss somewhere. But
I am surprised that they did it the way they did it, especially since every other class got stuff. I think mages get stuff as well.
we only got one. Yeah, Arcane Brilliance lasting 15 minutes extra and reducing the mana cost. It's so boring, and actually it's more annoying than it is useful. And I mean that genuinely, because you're like, when you buff yourself, you've got a 30-minute armor buff and now a 45-minute arcane intellect. It's so annoying that they're not the same amount of time. So it annoys me more having it.
I said the same thing, Scotty, with Balance Druids. We got all these improvements that we can use all these different spells now in Moonkin form, and I was like, it would have been so sick if that was also a leaflet somewhere in a dungeon. Like I've still yet to do RFD. I have no reason to go in there. So yeah, if it was off the last boss of RFD, I would have ran that for like a couple times. And for the leaflet thing, a little criticism on that was it seems like it's 100% drop chance. So it's like I didn't really have to farm it. So it's like good and bad. It's like, yeah, I go in there, I kill a boss, and I know that I'm going to get this leaflet if I'm in there soloing it. So it's like if it would have had like a 30% drop chance, then I would have ran the dungeon a couple more times, you know?
I wonder if that's a change they've made after Phase 2 came out then, because it took me to Armory to get my Warlock stuff.
Oh, it was the first week I soloed all this stuff on my main, and I got a leaflet off of Inquisitor, off of a rare spawn, and then off of the last boss. I got all 3 leaflets in one run.
It could just be because you were soloing it, I guess.
Yeah. It could have been solo. Okay. It could have been random RNG. Yeah. But then when I went back on this tune, it seemed like the first 3 bosses that I killed in there farming for my neck also dropped the leaflet, and I was like, it's cool, but yeah, I don't know how that's working. If it is based off of like how many players in the group or something weird, I don't know.
But I would agree, though, the Quality of Life books was a great addition, and I hope it carries on, you know, with sensible quality of life changes. But you know, obviously, the more quality of life changes we get, the closer we do get to retail type mechanics and everything. So, you know, they wanted friction, but like they're removing friction more and more and more. I'm not saying I'm a fan. You know, I love the quality of life changes. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, like, they need to sort of be a bit more careful with what they sort of bow down to and say, yep, okay, mages, you can make 20 water. Instead of being like, well, actually, you can go and buy the same water from the vendor. It's annoying and it costs gold, you know, but it's not like, again, I'm just playing devil's advocate. Like, I love the fact that it was changed, but at the same time, like, when do the changes stop? But yeah, quality of life books overall, I personally would say is something I want to see more of, as long as they're, well thought out quality of life changes. Because, like, an example, next patch, next phase, you know, just having one to remove the reagent cost of Slowfall, for example, or remove the reagent requirement for Ankh, or, you know, like those sort of things where you would ordinarily be able to do it from using a minor glyph. Like, they are, quality of life, not game breaking, but at the same time, it will be fun to go and farm whatever it is. But again, I also agree with what you said, Go, in the fact that it could do with, like, not being so easy to get.
I mean, a lot of people in the chat are saying that it's been difficult for them to get it, so maybe it has been changed, or maybe it's just because I was soloing it. I don't know what it is, but I kind of like the struggle. But on the other end of it, they added all this good loot from those rares in SM Graveyard as another example from there, and I've gone lockout after lockout, not even having a rare spawn. Like, I've sat there for a couple hours, like, just going in there 5 lockouts, not having any rare spawn. So, like, it's, I guess that's fine. I'm trying to talk myself off the ledge there because it's getting me to go to the dungeon, and I was just complaining about not going to the dungeon. So it just does kind of suck to have like a 5 instant lockout, and then I'm just sat there for 45 minutes after seeing that the rare's not there 5 times.
Other good stuff. I mean, again, like with the books, if people are saying they were hard to get, I can only tell you my own personal experience. You know, I obviously don't know what yours was, but we had a group of 5, obviously, and we all had our books before we left Graveyard, like when we was leveling from to 40. So it's got a high chance.
Some other good stuff. They've made profession changes. They made enchanting like my best profession, like my BIS profession, leatherworking enchanting with the sigil. And they just updated the sigil to also include ranged attack power, I think, that went live on NA today. So that was also kind of unexpected. Those notes just came out at like 6 o'clock. I don't know if that was on the original patch notes, but there's some little tiny things. They always do like 2 versions of the notes. Recently, the past couple weeks, it's like you get the initial Friday night patch notes of the changes, and then after the servers go live and everything is implemented, there's like an update of the notes. So there's a couple things stuck in there, but yeah, like professions getting extra value so that it's not just engineering and then some other profession. Alchemy has some new potions. I think they just tweaked the alchemy potions as well. So it's cool. It's cool. It makes a tougher decision. Yeah, it almost allows you to pick whatever profession you want to instead of being mandated to have 2 certain professions. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about the heirloom things that they've added?
They're too weak.
Yeah,
in
for
my
that
opinion.
point,
I
that's
don't-
really
They're a little.
Yeah.
They should have been
So-
actual heirlooms and scaled with level.
I know that
They're nice at level
pushback-
1. And,
Yeah. Maybe 1 to 10. Yeah.
yeah, more like 1 to 10. But anything after that, it's kind of. I feel like they're kind of pointless.
I know the pushback people are going to say against what Scotty just said, that the heirloom issue is you never replace that piece of gear until you get to max level. So it's like that item slot just has no upgrades. Like you're not going to roll on anything for a ring if the ring is a bio or an heirloom.
Yeah, but does anyone care? Because to get them, you've already leveled 1 character. Are you really
I
that?
don't care.
Are you know what I mean? At that point, it's not like it's your first character and you're getting heirlooms. You've already done it all once. You know, it's just if you had a ring and a neck that, yeah, you're not going to replace. Like, if you really like getting new upgrades, don't use it.
Yeah, it would have been
That's true,
it would have
yeah.
been nice to get like a trinket on there, even if it was like a 3 spell power trinket. The lack of low level trinkets is very noticeable, I think. So I would have enjoyed a trinket. Let me just I'm turning these positive things that we're supposed to talk about into negatives. I'm sorry.
I got
I've done it
another
with, like, every
positive one
topic.
for me.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
I really, well, I would say I guess half the time, but it was positive for a while for me. The STV event I thought was the most fun ever. I mean, it's getting kind of played out to me now because I've done it so much, but that's some of the most fun I've had so far in phase 2 with my friends, and I think that was a home run when it works, when it's not lagging, and when there's no layering issues.
Well, first person I've heard say that. So that was. I'll drink to that. Yeah, I'm not a fan.
You don't
mean-
like it?
Not really.
I've had fun.
Sure.
Yeah, the problem is that I see with it is like there's no way to make the fun last, right? Like that's my whole issue with it. First 2 weeks of phase 2, I was having an absolute blast because it was working flawlessly for me on my server. There was no lag, no layering issues. I was like, oh, this is pretty sick, you know, farming the Raptor on Alliance, whatever. But the problem that I'm running into now, I guess I'm doing what Go did and turning something that I enjoyed into a con here, but it was a pro for me in the beginning. And it's just I don't see a reason to keep it. Like I don't want to go back and do that again now on this rogue and like on all these other characters. Like it just there's nothing different about it to me. But I think that it's light years ahead of what Ash and Whale was. So
Yeah, I would
definitely.
say it's better than Ashen Vale. It's an actual PvP event. You know that already makes it better than Ashen Vale. Any other good things? Because I've got I want to piggyback off the STV thing, but for the negative things that I don't want to see, and it's not actually me saying I don't want to see STV. It's more around every 3 hours you've got reason to go and PvP, but there's no incentive for PvE. And as someone who primarily likes PvE and likes going and getting geared in raids and then having reason to go and flex in dungeons and, you know, or go and do more content, I feel like phase 2 has really lacked PvE content.
yeah.
Well, 100%.
Yeah, I think at this point, at this stage of the game, where we're not level 25 anymore, there needs to be more PvE content to do, other than just one raid that takes 40 minutes or 30 minutes, depending on your group.
Yeah, I mean, I see in phase 1, like even after doing Black Fathom Deeps, we were still like occasionally doing Shadowfang Keep or Dead Mines, or you know, there was still the odd dungeon going on. I haven't done a dungeon with anyone in the guild since we hit level 40. Not one.
Do you not feel like there was reasons to go into phase 1 dungeons? Like, there was still either chase items or, like, Cruel Barb's a perfect example, still a very good sword, like, pre-BFD. Or there was runes that took you in there and things like that. Like, I remember getting meta and, like, okay, guys, come and help me go in through Shadowfang Keep and get my meta stuff, or Divine Storm, or whatever else. There's no reason to go into any of the dungeons once you're 40 now.
No, because the majority, you can get such like powerful BOE gear from crafting and stuff like that now as well, that you can just go and buy off the auction house. Like, as a mage, I could literally level a new mage over on Crusader Strike, get to 40, go and buy everything that I need from the auction house, which won't even cost a great deal. You know, like Star Belt is technically BIS, and it's like 3 gold or something. You know, it's ridiculous. Then you can get Dreamweave gloves, Dreamweave chest, bloody red mage weave legs. You know, there's just, you can buy so much powerful gear that when you're doing 40, there is no point in worrying about going in dungeons at all, because Gnomragon's not like hard enough even to worry about getting absolute pre-raid BIS. So that's my biggest negative about phase 2. Well, my biggest negative about Season of Discovery is, as a PvE player, I would really like more reason to do PvE content other than logging on for like 30 minutes, 40 minutes every 3 days.
Here's my solution to it. I don't know how many of these it would take for it to help alleviate this problem, but daily quests. What do you think?
Oh God, no.
I want some daily quests, man. I want.
See, I would like
some
the
gold
daily
from it. Yeah, something from it. Put the daily behind a dungeon, like something.
Then that could justify the gold sinks as well for a lot of people.
I'd like a daily dungeon quest. That's it. I'm not talking about dailies as in dailies where you're going around the world doing stuff. I mean, just literally, there's a quest giver in Orgrimmar and Stormwind, and it's to go and do a dungeon, and in return, you get some supply logistics rep. That's it. That's all I need.
Yeah, I would like it if, like, there was an option to make a dungeon harder as well.
Heroic dungeons.
You had a daily heroic dungeon, but it could be any dungeon, right? So, like, it could send you into Wailing Caverns, but it's heroic. Like, that would be so cool. It would recycle things, keep things fresh. It does also then encourage PvP because, you know, if you're on a PvP server and allies are running to Wailing Caverns or Horde are running to Dead Mines or wherever, then there's actual worth going to these. Because as it is at the moment, no one's ever going to go back to Wailing Caverns, right?
Oh, no. I kind of
I like that the option to have, you know, heroic or whatever level dungeons. I think that would be really, really good, and it would just be such an easy way to add more PvE content.
Well, am I alone in the fact that, again, like, I know at the moment, I on past podcasts, even Blazing Bob's podcast, I might seem like I'm being negative about Season of Discovery, but I'm not. I'm logging on every day. You know, I'm doing Gnomragon I've not missed a reset. You know, I actually really enjoyed Gnomragon tonight. So I don't want people thinking like I'm shitting on it because I'm just looking forward to Kata. It's more like constructive criticism. Really seeing where they can do things better for Phase 3. It's great. If you're a PvPer, if you love PvP, I think Season of Discovery is amazing, even though it's not balanced whatsoever, obviously. But, there's world PvP going on. You know the hot spots. You've got a PvP event every 3 hours. You've got AB, you've got Warsong Gulch. Like, you've got so much, actually. Like, as someone who enjoys PvP, it must be one of the best experiences. But someone who, I don't dislike PvP, I just get bored very quickly. You know, I'll do 2 or 3, like, Arathi Basins, and then I'm like, oh, I need to do something else. Like, win, lose, or draw. It's not about losing. I don't care. But I just mean doing that same battleground over and over again. Like, after an hour, I'm ready to go and do something different.
I'm not going to lie.
PvP. Go ahead, man.
No, so I was going to say is I don't necessarily agree with that. There's more content for PvP, but there's 2 major grinds, and then you're done. Like, so it's exactly the same as PvE in that you get to the end of this road, and all of a sudden there's no encouragement to go back and do these things.
Oh yeah, that's true as well. Yeah, that's true. But you have then still got STV and world PvP. You know, you can find PvP easily. You know, but then yeah, you're right again, because it's like, well, why would you? You're rank 5. You're exalted with, you know, Arathi Basin and Warsong Gulch, so it's like you're only going out to do world PvP for the fun of it. And then you could, like, playing devil's advocate, you could say to me, well, you could go and do Scarlet Monastery for the fun of it. You know, it's like, yeah, we unfortunately, that's not how we play WoW. We don't do things for the fun of it on the most part. Right. We raid for gear or passes, you know, and I think most people, if you was to say to someone, right, we're making a raid, we're not going to take any loot, you know, we're just going to leave it all on the bosses, no one would want to go. Like, you know, there's things that we do where you can have fun while you're doing it, but I won't go, like, I'm playing Wrath, as I said at the start, quite a lot at the moment. I wouldn't go back and do Nax. Well, what's the point? Like, unless I'm going to try and get achievements or, you know, get something from it.
You know what the easiest way to fix this, though? Add achievements.
Yes, I called for it way before SOD launched. I was like, I hope there's achievements in SOD. And when there wasn't on day one, I was a bit sad. I would absolutely love achievements. That would get me to do dungeons that I would normally not even do, just for the fuck of it, just to get the achievement. I'll go do Cathedral. Let's go. Let's get that achievement.
I personally think that all of these, you know, issues with basically not having anything to do outside of, you know, these two things are from, I don't know, it was a recent blue post, maybe it was like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, where they like reiterated again that like a major part of Season of Discovery is they want you to be playing alts. So I am assuming that is why things are this way, and like for that to change, in my opinion, then the entire focus of Season of Discovery would need to shift away from that, right? Because if it's super alt friendly and you want people, like, their whole thing, from what I can you know, gather reading these blue posts and stuff like that, is after you do that stuff that we're saying, like, okay, it takes, you know, a few hours a week and you're done with everything, you know, you then log on to another character and do it on that character. And then, like, think about phase 1. I mean, most people had, like, you know, a lot of people had like 3, 4, 5 characters, right? And you did BFD, you did whatever, you just hop to the next one and do that. But for this whole, like, not having much to do at the cap of these level bands, in my opinion, then they would need to shift their focus away from that, right? If we want a ton of stuff to do on our main character, then it wouldn't be very alt friendly, in my opinion. So it would need to, you know, I mean, there's definitely a middle ground, right? I'm not sure what it is. I'm not a developer, but I think that's why a lot of people feel that way.
I 100% agree, and that's sorry, Jay. That's sort of my point. Will be very quick anyway. You know, that could explain why I'm struggling with phase 2, where other people are having loads and loads of fun and think it's the best thing since sliced bread. I like investing my time into one character, you know, and getting everything on one character. Alts. The only time and Go, you're my witness. You know this is fact. The only time I level an alt normally is if I'm changing it to my main. You know, I leveled a priest on Mankrik and I mained it, and I was all in on the priest, doing everything. And then it was like, oh, there's an option, you know, the guild needs a paladin, I can go paladin. So I leveled a paladin, that's my main. And I've now leveled a mage, and that's going to be my main for Kata. But, you know, I wouldn't just go, oh, I'm a bit bored, I'm going to level a character, because I don't like leveling. I don't like leveling. You know, it's in the way of what matters to me, which is the end game PvE content. And I don't really enjoy PvP. So the two things that are in abundance in Season of Discovery, neither of them really interest me. Like, I love my mage. Honestly, I've done everything on my mage. And again, you guys who watch me stream, you've seen, you know, I've run around the world farming for crafted gear, like farming for gold, doing, like, getting everything, like everything that I can on the mage that doesn't revolve around sitting in battlegrounds all day. But that's why I love my mage so much. I've got zero interest in leveling another character. I don't, and especially to do Gnomragon again. Once doing Gnomragon once every 3 days is enough. Twice is too much. All right.
But so my point was going to be before, and I'm interested to hear how you guys think about this. Do you think it's alt friendly now? like I had 17 25s in phase 1, and I was raiding 4 or 5 times a week, a reset on different characters and different areas. The professions weren't hard to get. All of a sudden now 40 takes, another basically the same amount of time as 1 to 25 again. You've then got professions on top of that. You've then got the profession quest to be able to get your helmet. You've got PvP grinds rank 5. I don't think it is very alt friendly in phase 2. As someone who loves alts and has alts all the time, I don't have any alts.
I mean, I just got my second 40 today, and that 100% XP buff, amazing. I love it when I'm doing quests and I actually see my bar move.
Yeah.
That was sick.
It's nice.
And to me, it's like the professions they're really optional still right now. So it's like, if I decide I want to have the professions, I could get 20 DPS extra for having the helm. Like, okay. If I wanted engineering, I could get engineering. Nobody, at least in the guild that I'm in, no one's mandating that you have to have professions. So it's like, okay, cool. So that's one thing that is optional for me, as it being my alt. My main, for sure, I'm going to always have professions. But alt-wise, it's like, I don't really need them.
But it is the same thing. I think that's more like, that's how I feel anyway. It's like, okay, so I'm going to, over on Crusader Strike, let's say I get that warrior to 40. I'm still going to have no PvE content to do outside of Gnomeregon because I'm not going to bother with dungeons. I'm literally going to go hammer, get me in that run. I'm not, there's going to be no point doing dungeons. I'll buy what I need off the auction house to be able to, be able to hold my own in Gnomeregon. And then I'm just doing exactly the same thing again. And I know it's like, well, you're playing a different class with shiny new abilities. No, I'm not. I'm pretty much just playing a kata version of these classes in vanilla content, severe lack of it. I love what they've done with like Warlock Tank. I love the Mage Healer. And I said last episode, if they was to surprise us with anything in kata, please let me heal on a mage in kata. I would love that. They're not gonna, obviously, but there's aspects of Season of Discovery that I absolutely love. I just wish I had more to do.
So Ashley, thanks for the super chat first off. And then Ashley said, the devs keep saying they want it to be social, so bring in some of the guild rewards. Like Cataclysm, we're going to get some guild rewards. You do some dungeons, your guild gets reputation, you can buy guild items and stuff like that. That would also be something that would get me into running dungeons for no reason, doing battlegrounds after I'm exalted with a Arathi Basin rep, all of that kind of stuff that the whole guild reward system provides. Yeah, I'm for it, sure.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, how are your guilds doing, like, in general? So, because, like, we haven't bothered recruiting because, the majority of our guild are people like Go, me, like people from the NA guild, and then like people from the EU guild and friends. We've not really gone like, hey, do you want to come and join? Until I actually did recently on Discord, just in preparation for phase 3. Like, we had 4, 5, 10-man BFDs going a week, like during phase 1, and we are literally doing one Gnomeregon a week, and we're getting people quitting every week, as in people being like, I'm taking a break till phase 3. Like, the numbers have just dwindled down to, we have just got the same 10 people logging on every 3 days to do Gnomeregon, and that's it at the moment. It's pretty bleak. Is that, like, happening anywhere else, or?
My guild over on Lone Wolf, we had 4 groups going for phase 1, and now we have 3. And that was mainly because, like, the leader of the 4th group, he was like, oh, I got a bunch of real life stuff to do. He can't lead it anymore. So now we have like 7 or 8 people who just don't have a spot because those other groups are full. But in phase 2, we have, I think, 2 Gnomer groups going. So the others eventually kind of dwindled out, and I guess people are just pugging and stuff like that. I mean, it started as like a community guild, and then like raid group 1, which was the one that I started, we just ended up becoming like a solid, 10-man, and we still go together. But I would say that it's similar to your situation. There definitely was a drop off from my guild.
Yeah, we lost people almost immediately. Like a week or 2 into phase 2, we lost 2 players, I think. And like we're at a point where like we're pugging 2-3 people every reset at the moment.
Well, we
like,
lost Hoyt, Jay. Hoyt didn't even get to 40. And by the way, for anyone who like I'm talking to use, like everybody knows him. You know, Hoyt was like our main blood DK tank on RAF, and you know he was playing every BFD raid in phase 1. You know, and he couldn't even get to 40. He was like 30 odd and was like, man, this is shit. And he's back on RAF, leveling on NA in the same guild as me. Like, yeah, that's bizarre. You know, Hoyt never just quits like that, and it weren't even holding his attention, which I don't know. Weird.
Oh, Hammer, your camera just did the whole gray thing that you were talking about. It just now happened.
Yeah, it did.
It looks cool as shit, but
it flashed as well. Yeah, it went weird for a second.
It goes.
Is it back?
Yeah, it's back.
Okay. Yeah, something's going on here. Something's weird.
We've got another super chat, though.
Yeah, I pinned a message before we get to the super chat really quick because it's something that I wanted to hear your guys' opinion on. Funny to me how no one mentions how one of the few things to do is grind a Arathi Basin and Warsong rep, which has been around since 2004. Nothing new, but nothing new about that. Boring. I don't know how to read that last part, but they also made it super easy to get that rep outside of doing the actual battlegrounds. Like Warsong, you can get to Revered just sitting in Ashenvale, which is what I'm doing currently right now. And then Arathi Basin, you can get all the way to Exalted, I think, from the STV event. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but
you can get to Exalted with Warsong Gulch as well.
Oh, did they change that, or
no? So the scroll that you hand in every week gives 1,000 rep after Revered.
Yeah. So is that a good change that they're allowing PvE players to get the PvP gear without having to actually do the battlegrounds, or should we be encouraged to do the battlegrounds?
I'm still not doing it. I'm still. I think I'm revered with Warsong Gulch from doing, Ashenvale during phase 1, and I have done some Warsong Gulch, but yeah, not like in abundance. Arathi Basin, I've done a few ABs when I've been drunk and found it fun, actually. Again, I enjoy it. It's what the thing is, like for me, I will live in Battlegrounds, in Cataclysm, and maybe even towards the end of Wrath, but for achievements. That is literally why I'm in there. I'm even though I'm PvPing, that I find fun in doing the Battlegrounds and trying to, cap this many flags, defend this many flags, do these things like Alterac Valley All-Star. I know that's not for everyone, don't get me wrong, but that's where my enjoyment from Battlegrounds comes. Like trying to get those achievements at the same time. So yeah, when I'm just in Arathi Basin and it's just like the same shit over and over again, but just with different people, I don't know, it bores me. And especially with there's no balance, is there? It's extremely bursty, which I'm not complaining as a mage. Obviously, I can absolutely delete people, but at the same time, I can get absolutely deleted. I don't know. For me, it's just I couldn't care less. Actually, is my answer to your question. I couldn't care less whether you can get Exalted in the STV event, Ashenvale event, grinding the Battlegrounds, because no matter what way it is, I still won't be doing it.
So I think it generally makes the Battlegrounds better if you give PvEers a way that they don't have to PvP for it. So I haven't got random PvEers that have no idea about PvP coming into Battlegrounds because they're just trying to farm a rep or farm an item because it's this
irradiated set that has minus 40 stamina.
Yeah, 100%. Like I'm doing BGs the last couple of days, and I keep seeing people growing bright green, and I can actually one-shot them. Like it is just ridiculous. So I kind of like the fact that they can get it from another source, but it's just not a fun farm. I've done both to Exalted now, and I will not step foot in either of those in phase 2 again.
Musu, by the way, you came into a sub podcast and the first thing you heard was Cataclysm. We've also spoke about Elder Scrolls Online. Hopefully that don't offend you too much. There are other things outside of Seasons of Discovery, just so you know. We spoke about drinking and stuff like that, which also might go against your philosophies. I don't know, but welcome. Anyway, welcome.
Jesus is my homeboy, and the last time I went to church was back at
what's going on with Donald Trump nowadays? No, let's not get.
Lord.
Anyway, we've got a super chat.
Yeah. Will, can you guys use that influence to have them bring Shami Tank to retail or Shammy Tank, however you want to say it? I fucking love Shami Tank. Yeah, we'll give word to the higher ups. Yeah, you can see we're in the office right now. I just got a phone call upstairs and talk to the big boys and we'll
get it done.
that worked on. Yeah.
But no, I think he's right. Like, honestly, I think it would be great for him to take some, like, not retail. You know, I sort of, that's where I would, I mean, if it naturally came in retail at some point, then fine, you know. But I certainly think that Classic could be taking some learnings from Season of Discovery where they take a few risks, because let's face it, it's going to be coming to an end, no matter whether it's Kata, Mop, Warlords of Draenor. You know, at some point it will fizzle out unless they find ways to keep it feeling a little bit fresh, a little bit different. So people who didn't enjoy all the way forwards of Warlords of Draenor, people who didn't enjoy Warlords of Draenor, will be like, actually, I'm going to try it because mages can heal, warlocks can tank.
Yeah.
You know, those things where actually I think now is the time where they need to take some risks with Classic, and it either works or it don't. If it don't, they've always got Season of Discovery to fall back on for the time being. There you go. That's that answered. Sorry, are we still talking about good and bad stuff?
I think so. Yeah, I think we were. I'm trying to think of any other good and bad stuff.
Good for me is actually the runes.
Yeah, runes weren't that bad.
Well,
they
for mage, for mage.
Well,
not the rune acquisition.
I did the Dark Rider thing on NA the other night with Bob and Table and a couple other homies, and that was a long time. And I didn't realize it was for a rune, so I got whatever rune it is for Druid. I can pull it up right now. King of the Jungle for my feet. I never would have got that without other people also wanting to do that thing. So I think like runes that are tied to multiple classes achieving the same thing for one rune that everybody can get for their class. I think that's kind of cool.
I don't like that. I'm the complete opposite.
I thought the rune acquisition this phase it felt kind of lazy, to be honest, compared to phase 1.
I 100% agree. 100%.
A lot of it was copy pasted for so many classes, and I feel like in phase 1 everything felt I was actually sitting there like, wow, I can't believe they like added this level of like class fantasy to this. Like it blew me away with how much you had to do for some like meta and all that shit. But phase 2, like before I roll an alt or anything, I'm sitting here looking at the runes like I don't even want to play this class. I don't want to do this shit again. Like, yeah. It just felt a little bit lazy to me. Like some of the runes themselves, great for some classes. I main warrior and now I'm playing a rogue alt, so I'm just in the shitter for this whole phase. But I think that the acquisition for the runes definitely could have been better this phase.
I mean, as a balanced druid, I always have to relate to myself. And my 3 balanced druids in phase 1, I could get all 3 at level 4. I could get a summon to wetlands, get my star surge.
Yeah.
I can do my quest that I have to loot a chest and then use Moonfire on 6 mobs to get Furious Storm Rage, and then I can go Moonfire 3 tablets outside of the starter zone and get Sunfire, and then boom, I'm done. I'm set. All 3 runes until I get level 30. And then even like Dream State and Eclipse in phase 2, at least they were both kind of quest chains, but even still, Dream State, I could just go up, not do anything, not get the drop item, and I can just loot the actual item that gives you the rune if somebody else has already done it. So to me, I didn't really like that. Like I feel like everybody should have to do the quest themselves.
Yeah, to actually see it. That's loot in the bag. That's the Arathi Highlands one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that what you said? Yeah.
No.
Where you take the little boat round, because that you can just loot as well.
That's Eclipse, yeah. I can just talk to the NPC. It doesn't matter if I engage it. I can just sit there and wait for somebody to kill it, and then I can loot the item too. Yeah, even if somebody else has killed it. Yeah, that's another one. But yeah, Dream State is the one where you loot like the pod. You have to kill the Kolkar, you get the item, you take the item into the water, it sprouts a seed, you plant the seed in the dirt, and then the dirt spawns a pod. So anybody can loot that pod other than the actual druid that did the work to spawn it.
Yeah. No,
so it's kind of weird.
I just agree with like just summarizing everything that was just said with what Hammer said, like it just felt lazy. And I know I sound like a broken record for anyone who's listened to me talk about the rune acquisition in phase 2 before, but the fact that 2 of my runes, when there's not that many runes in phase 2, what, 7 for each class, 8 I think is a shaman got 1 extra, didn't they, if I remember rightly?
Yep.
2
how
of
many
them.
classes are there? Is there 8 or 9?
Well,
so it's 9 times 7. So they had to.
Yeah, no, I just mean individual runes per class. Yeah, I don't mean overall. I just mean like I get 7 runes, and 2 of them came from the same mob. You know, and then one of them came from a quest that everybody, well, not quest, but, you know, the whole Dark Rider thing that everybody does. They were all just so boring. They just weren't interesting, like not in the slightest. The whole Dark Rider thing. See, I don't like the fact, and I said it in phase 1, so I'm not like changing my tune. You go back to the first episodes of Cubicle Chat, and I was saying the same thing then. That like I don't even like the fact that 2 classes can get a rune in the same way. You know, I know it's a lot more work for the devs, you know, adding uniqueness, but like that's just more fun, isn't it? And like the ones that are meant to require teamwork don't anyway. When I was talking about chronostatic preservation earlier, you're meant to need, you know, you're supposed to do it with like 2 or 3 mages. You don't. Just out level it a little bit and go back and use Frostfire Bolt, and you can do it on your own. Like, I don't know, I really didn't, I wasn't a fan of I wasn't a fan of the rune acquisition, but I was a big fan of the runes. So my positive thing I said was the runes, and I, like, fire, you know, having fucking Hot Streak, having Frostfire Bolt, Spell Frost Bolt, you know, like mage ones in particular, and then when I've been leveling my Chamois, and having, what's the one where it resets the cooldown on Lava Burst and makes it instant, what's it called? Something
Flame Surge?
Flame Surge, is that what it's Power Surge?
Or Surge
of Power, or whatever, yeah. Like, that's amazing, obviously. Like, yeah, I like the actual abilities. I didn't look at many of them. Obviously, of course, I'm going to look at some of them and be like, well, that was shit. But, like, I'd say 80% of the runes that they added in Phase 2 were fantastic choices.
Yeah. And that 20% that's bad was, in my opinion, was Warrior. And the reason for that being, I'm being honest, because you know what, you sit here as if you're someone who mains Warrior, you sit here and you watch every other class is getting like cool shit that they've had in other expansions, and you know, rogues are getting like Shadow Step, things like that, whereas Warrior, you know, just keeps getting like enrages and like damage increase and all this stuff. Like, I would like to see in next phase for them to bring stuff, you know, like Heroic Leap and things like that, that would kind of change how you play the class a little bit. I don't even really care if it's overpowered or super strong. Just make it, you know, on par with all these. Like, literally, there's classes in Season of Discovery that in phase 1, it changed completely how you play the class. Whereas for Warrior, I feel like it's all just like percentage damage increases and like keeping up Consumed by Rage and all this stuff. Like, there's nothing that like changed how you play the class. Like, even just like I said, Heroic Leap, something like that would make me so happy. It would just make it feel like it's not a classic Warrior.
Yeah, and like
I agree with that.
It's the hybrid classes as well, isn't it? You know, like they're actually, well, druids in particular, you know, where you have like no choice. Like, if you're a boomy, you use these. If you're a feral, you use these. Yeah, like, you have literally zero choice. And Hennessy, you're not being held hostage, mate. If you don't like it, you are literally, you're honestly, it's all on you, bruv. You are free to leave if you don't like hearing negative things about the game that you love.
Go back 30 minutes. We were talking about all the great things that we enjoyed. Like, we sat there for at least 45 minutes talking about like some amazing things that came with phase 2. So it's not like we're just sitting here shitting on the game like all day, every day, like every episode. Like, no, we're giving feedback, we're giving criticism. We really enjoy the game, or we wouldn't be coming back every week. Like, the show would have ended in phase 1 if SOD was shit. But here we are. We're still here chilling. We're still playing. It looks like all of us are logged into the game right now. Like,
and if you don't talk about the bad stuff, it's never going to change.
As I was saying that, by the way, about the Warrior being, you know, the runes being super lackluster, I want you all to know that on my level 29 Undead Rogue, I just killed a 40 Warrior as I was saying that entire thing. So
you're OP.
That's how messed up it is. Yeah.
No, rogues is what I heard then.
Yeah, nerf rogues, exactly.
Yeah, dude, Rogue is so much. After I played this, I'm like, this is crazy how this feels so different. You know, you have Mutilate, like I mean, it's kind of broken. You can just completely kill someone before they can even move at this point. But maining Warrior just feels like, and I love the class and I'll always main it, but it feels so bad compared to everything else that I've played.
Yeah, but I did really enjoy leveling my Rogue in Phase 1, to be honest.
It's so fun.
Big Fat Tim knows. Shout out to Big Fat Tim. He knows I loved my Rogue in Phase 1. I do need to. That is actually one class that I could get to 40 quite comfortably and enjoy it all the way. Just because on a PvP server there is nothing better than playing a Rogue.
Yeah,
nothing.
It's the most fun that I've actually had all of Phase 2 is leveling this alt, to be completely honest.
Yeah, but
because
obviously
you're killing level 40s in the 20s. It's crazy. They can't even move.
But for
Hennessy,
let's be negative about it though, Hammer. Stop being so positive. It's still shit.
Yeah.
All right,
still shit.
It still fucking sucks. It's the worst class ever.
Before Hennessy came in and ruined the vibes, I had pinned a message from Dadge. I couldn't get it back up there, and they said wouldn't want to have to repeat like rune acquisition for the alts, and I kind of agree with that too. Though it's like I'm on one hand I'm criticizing like, man, it's kind of too easy to get runes for Balance Druid, but then again, every Balance Druid alt that I make, I'm like, oh man, I'm so glad it's easy to get all these runes and I don't have to like go do these quest chains across the world and go into dungeons and stuff.
They could, again, that's fixable, right? Like,
oh yeah, absolutely.
So the Dark Rider thing, right? You naturally, like, once you've done it on one, it's the same quest line on however many different characters. Once you've done that once, it should just be account mode.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so let me do the class stuff. If you're going to make cool class interactions, that's awesome. I'm happy to do them on each class because they're different, right? But the same rune quest lines that we have to do on every character should just be account mode.
Okay.
It would also make leveling much more enjoyable, you know? Like, if you wanted to start a second Balance Druid, suddenly you start level 1, but you've got all your runes. Like, that's awesome. It rewards you for playing the game.
I never had a mic in front of my face, but I was listening, and no one could hear me, but I was going, yeah, that's a good point, Jay. just on my own. Just on my own over there.
It would get rid of a lot of the like negative player experience that comes along with rune acquisition later on in a phase. I think that would be a sick idea to do that.
I just think it's more like looking forward. You know, that's the whole point of this episode, and it's like, all right, okay, it's fine now. You know, like even because of the 1 to 25 phase hasn't, like, now we're only at level 40. It's still not made that acquisition really bad. But what's it going to be like when the majority of us are 60 and we're raiding and someone new starts to play or one of our mates starts to play? Like, all of those runes that you're going to have to go around and get, and some of them having quest lines that they're just going to have to out-level because there's not going to be that many people doing them, you wouldn't have thought. You know, let's say we're all, like, everyone's balls deep in phase 2 level 60 content, like Blackwing Lair or whatever it is at the time. You know, I think it's only going to get worse. It's not like so there needs to be a fix in place now or an idea in place now of how that's going to look when we're 60. Because I've got to admit, like me, when we're like, I already don't want to level an alt and we're 40. When we're 60, I mean, Christ almighty, like all of those runes, even like doing the rep, doing like, I assume you still need to do all the shredder parts and all that bollocks to get that rune from Ratchet. Like, that's all going to be awful.
Like, again, like, so one of my biggest hatreds of phase 1 was that rune, and I've made it very abundantly clear. I really hated that fucking rune so badly. Make it a gold sync, but make it a gold sync I have to do on my account once, and I'm okay with it. The fact that I could start an alt and be like, right, okay, now I have to spend 50 gold to get this rune, it's just ridiculous. Like, it should never exist. I'm happy doing a grind once. Don't make me do the same grind multiple times. That isn't alt friendly.
Yeah, I think mine. So I do agree 100%. And I like the point when I weren't here when you said about, you know, if it's not class specific, and it is like the Dark Rider quest chain, for example. But my point with the runes is more around the ones that really require a group. You know, they either require a group or you've got to get so much higher level to be able to solo it, that then it removes the like the Dark Rider Quest chain would be a good one. You know, like I say, if we're level 60 and we're raiding, and, you know, like think about RAF. If you log on RAF now, there's not that many low levels running around. Like, yeah, getting a group together to go and do, like, Amphitheater and Zoldrak is not easy. You know, you could be waiting ages to actually get a full group to go and do it because most people are level 80 and they're raiding and stuff. So when it gets to that point and you've got to either solo these elites, so now you've got to get a lot higher than really the rune is intended for, or get help, you know. But if you're brand new, who are you going to get help from? You know, it's more those specific runes where they're created for group content at the max level of the phase, where that then sort of poses an issue further down the line. They're the only ones that I want thought put into.
Yeah, if we continue on the same track that we did for this phase, we'll have 30 total runes per class at level 60. That's a lot of runes to level up. And if somebody joins SOD at level 60 in phase 4, and then they're like, oh, I've got 30 runes I have to go get. Well, I mean, you don't have to because it's all your different like specs and all that stuff. Like that's every single actual rune. You could minimize it and get what 6 or 7 of the ones that you really are going to use. But if somebody's like planning on being 2 specs, they're like, oh, I'm going to heal and then I want to also DPS, or I want to tank and I want to DPS, then they're going to have to get, it's a lot of runes to go around the world and get.
It's going to be like, I'm not sure anyone would actually know the number off the top of their head. But does anyone know roughly how many quests there are that are shared between classes? I'm just going through runes now to try and figure it out. Because I reckon you'd get a good third of those runes just off the bat.
Yeah.
But I do think they'll do something, though. Like, we ain't got to talk about this for too long, because I'm sure Blizzard have thought about this, because it is pretty basic. You know, if we can think about it, you know, it's pretty basic. You know, there's going to be a point where it starts to get a little bit tedious for new players to get certain runes, and yeah, something will change. I almost would like to see it start to change in the next phase. You know, like when we're level 50, like the level 1 to 25 runes where they require a group, maybe like start to think about what you can do with those, and then, you know, progress through. But overall, like, anyone else got anything to add, like positive or negative? I mean, we've still got plenty of time, haven't we? We've got at least an hour still. Am I right?
So, I will say that I think the tier system and the token system they did in Noma made acquiring the sets better.
Was it not really weird that it? Oh, yeah, I'll push back as well. Like, for me, it was very good being a mage. Obviously, it was amazing as being a mage. But was it not really weird that one set dropped and the other required tokens?
That doesn't make sense.
The set that dropped was my BIS, and I have only done soft reserve, main spec, off spec runs this phase, and I haven't won a single tier piece, but I've won all 3 irradiated set pieces that actually dropped from the bosses. So it's like, if I wanted the tier pieces, I'd have been shit out of luck. There's so many people rolling on it.
But that's why. You know, sorry, Jay. Go on. You go.
I was going to say, my chamois in phase 1 did BFD every single week. I never saw 2 of the leather Saya pieces. Oh, sorry, I saw 1 but didn't win it, and I never saw the other piece. So, like, I went through clearing it every single week and still didn't get my bits because it just didn't drop. Whereas at least this way with the tokens, like, eventually everyone in a group is going to get them, right?
I think also
I
adding...
didn't see the staff. Like,
no, nor did I.
There was, I never saw the staff, so I think it was just a shit item drop rate chance that somehow they fucked up the item drops or something in phase 1.
But to be positive about it, they have, like, I think the way they've itemized the gear in phase 2 is a hell of a lot better than phase 1. You know, that there is actually good healing, like plus healing items for the healers. You know, it's like really alleviated a lot of issues around like plus damage and healing gear being for mages, warlocks, priests, but like boomies, like everyone. Because at this point, like in phase 1, I probably had looted 2 items in BFD. You know, literally, that's it. And now, at this point now, I only need one. But I still think what I would have liked to have seen, again, just thinking about the future, is all of the sets had a chance of dropping. Like, they're individual pieces, but you also got there was also tokens. You know, so instead of it just being the irradiated set, there was actually a chance of the non-irradiated set. There was a chance of the Mal, chance of whatever. So a bit like BFD, you would have a chance at like just random set pieces drop in, but then there was tokens as well. Because
I see that.
Yeah, we like that. Me and Boars, you know, Boars has got free set already. I've got free set already. I think most people that can make use of them in the guild have already got the legs as a bare minimum. It's only the chest that we've not seen that many times. But like that, the cloth set has been so easy to get. It's ridiculous. Whereas everyone's still fighting over tokens.
We've had a completely different experience. We've got people that no longer need tokens, but we've got people that have barely seen irradiator pieces.
Oh wow! No, we've been the complete opposite.
That's my raid. The same.
Oh, okay. Maybe we are the exception then.
Tons of tokens, but no irradiated set.
The nice thing I will say is we've seen lots of epics.
Yeah, so we've had epic guns. We had today's raid we had the epic healing shield from Crowd Pummeler, which Shaman got for off spec. I got the epic dagger from Menagerie, and then obviously the healing ring dropped from the last boss as well. But yeah, seeing the epics a bit more frequently is nice.
I was going to ask about the staff. Have you guys seen the staff?
No, we've not. I haven't.
Oh wait, okay. The new staff?
So we've gotten a weird luck thing with the staff where we've gotten it every single run. We're disenchanting it at this point.
That's the arcane healing one?
Yeah, the arcane healing staff. We've gotten it every run but once so far, which is insane.
I don't even want to use it, but I want it. Oh, have you had the shield a lot? Yeah, I think we've had the shield twice.
So here's a tinfoil hat theory. They have different loot tables for different realms and different factions.
Yeah, and different guilds.
Yeah, well, no, not different guilds. No, because everybody's playing on different shit right now. Everybody's different factions and different realms.
I think we've seen a few daggers. We've seen a few caster daggers. As I know, our tank warlock Flo, he's got one. I've got one. I think Tog, our shaman's got one. Like we've seen enough of those. But yeah, we've not seen a single staff. And I don't even need it because I'm using the dagger and offhand. But I do want it. You know, just I don't know why not. Just because it's epic, it's purple. It's really important.
I took it the other day just for res as a warrior.
Oh wow, yeah.
That's BM.
Yeah, literally no one needs it. So
all right, so one more negative thing before we move on. Is that cool, Scott?
Yeah.
So as a boomy, I'm going back to being a boomy. Leather gear still is not my best. I can't stand it anymore. Let me have full leather gear as my best in slot in phase 3, please. I still have to go against casters for the belt, for example, for the belt, not all the irradiated set, like, so that's 4 pieces right there. Is there any other pieces? I don't know, but there's the bracers are leather.
Yeah, but
so
they have
got
tried.
The bracers right.
I want to cut you off because they have tried. You know, they gave boomies their own specific set bonus. I mean, maybe that's not powerful enough, you know, but that's like what they've done is right. So, like,
they tried.
Yeah, they've tried. So what you're saying is, you're saying it's a negative, but really, you know what? Yeah, they've tried. So what they need to do is just like they've done their best, but maybe do their best of someone better
upon it. Yeah, maybe you actually have somebody play balance on the team.
In the team, no one's going to play that shit.
I think at least one of them plays balance. I think, but yeah, just give me leather gear. Same thing. I've been griping about this for PvP as well. Like they tried again. They gave us like some 6 spell power bracer PvP gear that you had to get a rank for, I think. And it's like, do I want the 6 spell power leather piece or do I want the 16 spell power cloth piece?
Yeah, but again, like it's more, you know, I'm talking more the fact that you want the irradiated set like that. That's not right. The other bits, like you know, like needing a cloth belt. It's not like this is nothing new, is it? You know, like in Wrath, as a holy paladin, your best belt is a cloth belt. You know, or well, was before Ruby Sanctum. But you know, needing like other armor pieces, like that's fine. But when they've specifically made a set for, you know, with even boomy specific set bonuses, that really should be the best set you can get. Like, you shouldn't need a radiated steel.
The set bonus was for like the cloth set, it's 2% flat crit. The boomy set it's only 2% crit for like Wrath and Starfire or something like that. So they limited the crit. Same crit value, but doesn't affect all of my spells, whereas the cloth set does. So it's like, yeah, they tailored it to balance, but they made it shit compared to what I could get elsewhere.
You should have got 2% extra crit for using it.
Or something, or 3% crit for both of those spells or something. Like, they could have made it better. Yeah.
But that's it. So really, like, it's positive that they've tried to.
Yeah.
But it just needs to be a bit better.
I recognize that I'm bitching about like 5 DPS. So I do understand that it's like a minor difference here. I get it, but I'm still going to gripe about it, okay?
Anybody else got any good and bad things? I didn't realize we had so much time left still. And we've only got a couple of points, which some of we've touched on already anyway. Me personally, if I was to say, God, this is going to get me shot in the comments. It's not really a bad thing. It's more a saving us from ourself thing that I mentioned on Warcraft Reloaded, or maybe the last episode, is the leveling experience. I feel like Blizzard do need to do something to almost force us a little bit into the outside world, like when the phase first launches. So it's not a negative, it's not a positive, it's just like more of an observation. You know, looking at what the outside of Scarlet Monastery looked like, as in the hallway where all the portals are, for the first 2 or 3 days was disgusting. You know, like, and I'm going to do the same. You know, I would always take the path of least resistance. I'm a mage. You know, when Phase 3 launches, I'm going to be in Zul'Farrak until 50. I won't be moving. But like I say, save me from myself, because that is what I'll do. But you're adding all these new cool stuff, you know, this cool stuff out in the open world, and like trying to get people to like do stuff together for runes and whatever. I feel like just a little bit of thought should go in there to. But then I know this is why I said I'm going to get shot in the comments. People are going like, well, I want the choice. I want the choice to be able to sit in Scarlet Monastery for 17 hours. Yeah, that's cool, but I don't know. I'd do something.
What do you think they can do? Like, because in my opinion, what I think this whole, you know, the increased XP and gold from like the 300% gold from quests was like their answer to that. But I agree with you, and I think it's not enough, right? Because Phase 3 launches, we're all going to be sitting in Zul'Farrak until 50, because it's going to be the fastest way possible. So unless quests specifically gave you more experience or bonus experience or something like that, I don't think it's possible, right?
Yeah, no, I just think more like having like a bit more of a stricter dungeon reset, maybe for the first few days, you know, where it's like, I don't know, you can do 2 an hour. I know people will still find ways around it, or, you know, just so it is going to alleviate some traffic in the outdoor world, but so not everybody's just in doing the same thing. Like, it's meant to be Season of Discovery, not a solved game, but it's solved if we know that the quickest way to the next level, bracket cap is going to be sat in Zul'Farrak. You know, it's like just tweaks. And again, it's nitpicking, but
I don't see how they fix that without reinventing the game. Because there's nothing that you can't do at higher level that isn't going to be easier. So, like, it's always going to be easier for me to get to 50 and then go back and do my runes than it is to do them at 40 and struggle. So, like, yeah, I just don't see how they change it without reinventing it, I guess.
Well, I've done exactly the same thing. Yeah, I literally farmed Scarlet Monastery till 40. By the time I got to 40, pretty much every room was discovered. I just ran around and grabbed them. It was like, great, right, I'm ready to raid.
I got 1 rune on my Warlock while I was leveling, and that was because it was bugged and gave me 20% mana back every time I crit.
Yeah.
Like, That was it. So it helped me farm faster. But like aside from that, there's no reason to. So
there you go. I got it, Jay. They give you the cozy like blanket buff, whatever those little consumes were. You get some of those when you get your runes, so it encourages you to get your runes while you're leveling.
Ooh, yeah, that helps.
Yeah, a little bit.
So
Just if it's not dungeon related, like, I think that's great. Yeah, something to encourage you
it would
to
pull
quest
you
in
out
the
of the
open world.
dungeon too. Yeah, you're like, oh, I can get this rune at level 44. Yeah, let me leave my ZF grind, go get my rune so I can get some stuff. And then let it be a little bit of a quest change, so it's not just like oh hey, I just killed this mob, I picked it up, now I'm right back in the dungeon.
I mean, add cool stuff from open world mobs. Like add them as a drop chance from open world mobs. So like open world mobs that can be within your level range. So you're not just grinding like level 10 mobs just to get the maximum drop rate, but like, so okay, I'm running around doing quests. There's a chance I get this rested XP item that is going to boost my next 20%. Like that would be awesome. If going through questing was as quick as doing dungeons, I would do questing every time. Especially since I'm an open world PvP enjoyer, but I just don't see how it's going to.
I suppose is it like, I know it was me who brought it up, but you know, like then when we really think about it, it's only a relevant problem for a few days, isn't it? Like it's probably going to become a bigger problem. Well, not a bigger problem now, but you know, with 100% XP getting mage boosted in Scarlet Monastery now, it's got to be pretty fucking sick, to be honest. But yeah, you know, it's only relevant for the first few days. But the thing is, I want to say
you level an alt too.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it. I will always do it, but that's why it's like, well, is there anything that they can do that don't massively disrupt any other area of the game? But at the same time, then when I'm saying it out loud, I'm like, I don't really care, to be honest with you. Like, yeah, as in, like, whatever. I'm gonna do whatever the quickest way to level is, and the fact is, when you're in a dungeon, you're constantly getting XP. That's the thing. It's
right.
Yeah, there's no downtime, and it's not even the fact that dungeoning is faster, because I would argue like 9 times out of 10 for 9 people out of 10, questing will be faster uncontested. But the problem is when a new phase comes out, is it's not uncontested. The world's fucked. The layers are fucked. There's no mobs to kill. Like, do you know what I mean? It's that. If it was actually, if there was hyper spawns and you could quest quite comfortably, and like the outdoor world might be a little bit more bearable. But unfortunately, yeah, I saw myself in phase 2 that's not the case. When my teammates went to bed, I went over to Hillsbrad to try and quest, and there was nothing to kill. So then I just went and soloed Graveyard, because it was just like, at least I'm getting XP. I'm stood here waiting for things to spawn. I'm getting nothing. While I'm in Graveyard, I'm constantly getting XP.
I mean, I like. There's different games that have solved this in different ways. Like, I mean, go with like the Rift mentality of here's a cool event that could happen in the zone. So you were in the zone because if it happened, then great. It was a big chunk of XP. It was something fun. It was group activities, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, if Blizzard wanted to take a hard stance on it, they go the hardcore route where it's right. Okay, you can have 5 dungeons a day.
Yeah. And I like, obviously, you know, Jay, I loved Rift, and I love those sort of world events. I take world events like that kicking off, you know, over a PvP event in phase 3 any day of the week. Yeah, where you just don't know, it just kicks off. You get maybe 5 minutes warning, you know, so you can start traveling over to stuff. But yeah, like having things like that kick off, that honestly, that alone, you know, if it was like a good amount, you know, you get involved in one of those world events and it's, you know, a few bars of XP. So it's a nice chunk, you know, when it completes, you get a good chunk of XP. Not overkill, but, you know, a few quests worth. I'd quest next phase, because I just love that.
So what you would have happen, like, because I can already see, right, of what would happen there is you would have teams of warlocks sat wherever the event is going to be, and their guildies would be farming ZF, and there's 5 minutes before they teleport across. But it is still pulling them at least into the world for a short period of time. an open world. I hate the idea of it being super timed, that someone can set an alarm and go, right, okay, in 2 hours 45, I'm going to stop farming, go grab a drink, and head to the group event like STV or Ashenvale. But give us a PvE version of one of those events. That would be amazing.
Yeah. I'd be all over that. Well, have you done any? Have you played any MMOs, Hammer, where there's been? Because I played multiple MMOs, not just Rift, but where
I was thinking about Rift when you guys were saying I loved Rift when it first came out. I absolutely loved that.
There's just nothing more exciting than when you're just running around and then something goes on and like everybody funnels into this one area, and yeah, it's going to be laggy and shit, but like in Azeroth, it's so vast. You could have, let's say, I don't know, 4 events kicking off at random times on either continent, and it could be anything. Like Ragnaroth is spawning
or something.
Yeah, he's spawning fire elementals all over the place, and you've got to shut portals down. Like that. That for me would be like peak. Like world content, especially if it could stay relevant when you're max level as well. Like that would make it even better.
If they put a reputation behind it. Like I'm not against the way they did it with things like Ashenvale and STV, or put a vendor behind it. The more objectives you complete in a zone over 20 minutes or something, each objective gives you like a quest worth of XP, so you can go around and do smash them. If you get in a group, it's more efficient. Cap it to 5 people because you can't complete quests in a raid. Like you have this massive thing that you could do. We've even got a storyline with the Void NPC, right? The one that keeps giving us crafting stuff. Like we have a storyline that you could develop into something and take there. Like everything's there for them to do it. But I think, and this is probably my biggest thing with the Season of Discovery right now, is in phase 1 they had this product that they've worked on for a while, obviously, and we saw some really epic stuff. And in phase 2 we got almost a patch worth of content rather than an expansion, which everyone wanted. Everyone wanted this again, but bigger and better. And I don't think we got that in phase 2.
And they've got the technology. That's the thing. As in, this ain't new. Like they've already done it. With like the Scourge invasions, where during the TBC pre-patch, where it would show on the map, what zones are being invaded. Like, just copy and paste that and just change the NPCs that are spawning. Like, that'll do.
Yeah.
Like, but you're giving something for everyone there, right? Because PvPers are going to be there being scumbags. I mean, would be that guy. You have group content, you have solo content. Like, you could turn that into something amazing, something farmable. It's more PvE content.
Yeah.
Like, you've got so much stuff you could do, and it's just frustrating that, it just doesn't seem to exist.
I personally think they can do more with the Waylaid Supplies rep. I think it's kind of almost like a wasted mechanic in Season of Discovery. I think that, the heirlooms or what the BOAs that they added, like we were saying before, are a little bit lackluster. And I think that there is, like you said, you could tie those events to maybe that rep or even a secondary rep or something like that you can only get from those events to kind of entice people to log on for more than just, the Gnomrigan raid and like what we were saying before. I feel like there's more that can be done with that rep alone, aside from even just adding another rep as well.
It's like they thought that the Waylaid Supplies rep was going to be a really good idea in phase 1 and then gave up on it in phase 2. That's what it felt like to me. They was like, this is going to be great. This is going to be like a core reputation throughout all of Season of Discovery, and then phase 2 came out and it was like, what's that rep again? Like, you do it just for that rune.
Oh, yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah. I thought they forgot about it. I thought they weren't going to add anything.
It's you've got, like, it's obviously based on like the Cubicle war effort stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you had that, which was epic. That was awesome. Seeing, like, literally people, you had, 80% of a server trying to work together to this common goal, and then you had the scumbags of the server selling Peace Bloom for 3 gold a pop. Like, but, ultimately, you had this massive war effort thing, and they seem to have tried to replicate it, but just missed the mark on it entirely.
I mean, I like what it's done what it had done for the economy in phase 1. Phase 2... Now they've made the changes to it where, you get XP, which you should have got XP when it launched, but you didn't. And yeah, like being able to sort of keep things that you craft relevant. I like that. I like the whole underlying sort of supply crate like methodology, like what they've tried to do with it. It's just the actual the actual reputation needs to give good stuff. You know, it needs to be worth doing. And I think also you need to be able to get it by other means. But
yeah, I wouldn't take away from it, right? Like the way that it functions right now, I think is great. I think the changes with being able to carry more of them, all of that stuff, the rewards are better. That's all good. But like you said, I think that you should get better stuff from that, because there really is and you know, almost no incentive to really be filling those crates at this point.
Yeah, I've not. I filled a couple of them right at the start of phase 2. Didn't get any XP when I handed them in, so that pissed me off straight away. And then when they changed them, it's like, oh great, I'm gonna get a bit of gold if I play the auction house and, you know, hand in the right ones. But like again, that don't interest me. It's a seasonal server. Where's this gold going? I don't know. You know, where's the reward? Just another. So that's a good point though. Like something that it'd be nice to see in phase 3 get a bit of love. You know, give that rep a little bit of love, because I think I would say the majority of us probably thought that there would be another rune behind Revered. You know, like
I thought so.
It sort of made sense that there was going to be another rune behind the next standing, and there weren't, which that confused me straight away.
I think they got a lot of negative pushback against having the runes tied behind it in phase 1, and like Jay was talking about earlier, just like how fucking big of a gold sink that was for level 25. So like I'm kind of glad they didn't put another rune behind it. But yeah, there's just nothing enticing me to do the rep. I still haven't gotten Revered. I might have turned in 4 crates. I'll eventually get Revered before phase 3. That's my phase 3 prep, is to get Revered just in case there's something good in phase 4. Hopefully there is.
I did the exact same thing. I got to Revered just in case.
But that's what I was saying right at the start, is the whole, you know, how much, when we give pushback on these things, how many of them do they constantly just like fall back on and go, oh, all right, it's too hard, it takes too long, you know, because now that rep's completely pointless. If there was a rune behind Revered, then you've got to do it. You know, it just gives you something to do. Like I'd be right now trying to make sure that I got Revered, get my rune, blah blah. You know, maybe the prices on the auction house would be completely different, because it is now like almost required by people who want that particular rune that they're going to get. Like, I don't know. Whilst I agree, because I fucking hated the fact that it was behind, you know, reputation, the rune. But then at the same time, how else do you keep it relevant? They've tried keeping it relevant by adding the worst bind on account items that you've ever seen.
I think they could do enchants like Wrath. Bind on account enchant like inscription.
Oh yeah,
scroll
shoulder enchants or something.
Yeah, stuff like that. I think would be
great
cool, and that would give you an incentive. You know, I mean, you could send them to your alts, like make them bind on account, so you have to do this grind, like we were saying, one time, and like stuff like that. That's actually super useful that you're gonna want, especially if you're like a min maxer, right? Like shoulder enchants, a neck enchant, something different.
I was going to get a drink, but you said that, and I can't stand up for a couple of minutes now. Like honestly, like that's so, so glaringly obvious, really, when you think about it. Like from TBC onwards, you've always had a reputation that, where you'd get a shoulder enchant. Let's just use shoulder as an example. Like what a fantastic idea! Yeah, having a shoulder enchant at friendly, honored, revered, exalted, where it's relevant for 25. 40, 50, 60. You're like,
exactly.
That is an amazing thought
as well.
Yeah, and be bind on account, absolutely. So you've only got to do it once. I think that would be that would actually be epic.
If they made it plus hit for balanced druids, that'd be fucking sick, dude. We need some hit. That's the perfect way to give us a little bit of.
I mean, it would be the perfect way to put secondary stats and make them a little bit more relevant at lower levels, like hit, crit, whatever. Like, yeah.
Yeah. And then at max level, it might have like a proc on, of some description, or, so it's like the exalted version, what you're going to use at level 60 is really special. You know, like that.
Yep.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Absolutely amazing. Cool. All right. So everything we like and everything we've I can't believe that took that long talking about just what we liked and don't like about Phase 2. I thought that was going to be quite quick. I thought it was going to be like, Gnome Ragon's all right, STV shit, classes are all right, and then we move on. But we're going to talk about, so we've spoken about what we want to see more or less of. What we, so the next PvP zone and level up raid. We'll touch on that because I think we know one of those answers already. And go, I really need a piss and need to get another gin, so I'll let you lead.
So one, I think we know. The other one, I think, is not even going to exist. So the new raid has been data mined. It's been out for, it's old news. It's like a week and a half old at this point that it's going to be Sunken Temple. It's still up in the air because it's only been increased from 5-player dungeon to 10-player raid, and they said that it's going to be a 20-player raid in Phase 3. So unless that has changed in the last week, I haven't kept up with the news on that in particular, but it's looking highly likely Sunken Temple is going to be the raid. The PvP zone, though, I was looking the other day at the timeline for Classic, and for Phase 1 and Phase 2, I think it specifically listed on the little banners that there was going to be a new PvP event, but for Phase 3, it doesn't list that. I need to pull that chart back up. So
that would make sense.
I feel like there might not be a PvP event in Phase 3.
I hate everything about that whole sentence. Not just the PvP bit, but the leveling raid as well. Hate all of it, yeah. But I also need a pee and I also need a drink, and it's not because Scott said so. So I will be back in a second.
Are you guys' bladders tied together? So what do you think, Hammer? STV, decent raid, or what would you like to see for the raid?
Sunken Temple, I think, is definitely a good 10-player raid. It's super iconic, right? You have your class quests in there. They can like amp up Diamond Flask and the Soul Harvester for Warlocks, all that kind of stuff. But it's interesting to see that it's a 10-player raid, and they said we'd be getting a 20-player raid, right? So that goes back to what we were saying before, where like, are we getting 2 raids at level 50 phase, which in my opinion would be sick. And if that was a possibility, I would personally love to see it be BRD. Absolutely not a fan of Maraudon at all, and I would hate having to do that as a raid. And I think BRD is just super class. It gets you like right up to that point where you feel like you're farming your pre-bis for level 60. It kind of like would fit in so perfect right there. Like you would feel like you're almost right there. And as for the PvP zone, like if we don't get one, that's interesting because I would like to see what then they would be adding for PvP players specifically. But again, if they were to add one next phase in Phase 3 at level 50, I think a good zone for it would be a zone centered around a level 20-player BRD raid, and make it like Searing Gorge or Burning Steps or someplace like super cool like that, where like in the past there was tons of world PvP in those zones, from people running to Blackrock Mountain back and forth. I think that would be a cool idea, but
yeah, I like the Searing Gorge specifically as a PvP zone, definitely, because in Phase 2 of Classic Era, like that, where people camped the flight path and everything, like that was a hot spot. In terms of like if it's on the their timeline or the future of Classic, if it's not got a PvP zone there, really, when you think about it, there's no harm in STV being the PvP event for the next phase as well, because it is just PvP. Like, there's nothing there to worry about. All they do is just add some more rewards that are relevant for level 50. So, like, they could absolutely just keep STV as the PvP event for the next phase. So again, I always like to play devil's advocate, because like even if it's not what I personally agree with. Because I'd love to see 2 raids. Like, I would love to see a 10-man raid and a 20-man raid. So the people who are doing 10-man, like, yes, you can, ramp up to 20-man and go and do 20-man Sunken Temple or whatever it's going to be. But at the same time, if you're just chilling with the boys doing a 10-man raid and you just like doing that, a 10-man every 3 days, it'd be great to have both. But then if it's almost like mandatory to do both if you want to pass, because there's BIS items from 10, BIS items from 20, is that now too much too much content for some people on a seasonal server. No, I don't. But on the basis, like I'm going by YouTube comments, mate. Like I've got people commenting that have got 12 wives, 16 jobs, 124 kids, and it's phase 2 and they're still level 4. So like they need some of these people just need more time to get things done. So it's 2 raids, like I don't know.
I didn't mean people that are commenting on Hammer's videos. I just meant the people that are commenting on yours, Scotty. I didn't want to offend Hammer's player base, viewer base. But no, like the 10-player raids. Like, what if there's guilds right now that are trying to recruit and they can't, and then they just get deflated? And they're like, well, next phase is 20-player. We only have 12. Like, why do we play phase 3? Like, do we just disband and have to find another guild? Or so like I think having 110, 120 next phase would be great for the people that can't merge a guild and anything like that are used to the 10-player raids in phase 1 and phase 2.
Can I throw some out there that just is a glaringly obvious answer, and I hate Blizzard for not just doing it? Flex raids.
No,
yeah, they can't do it. They've already said they can't. They can't do it. Yeah, systematically they can't do it in Classic.
And I'm anti.
Fix your system.
Yeah, exactly. But I just thought it was really funny. I just pinned Adam's comment. If you want outdoor world, outdoor content in the world, we need world events like Rift. I mean, we literally, honestly, mate, 30 minutes ago, we was talking about Rift a lot. So you're absolutely right.
The stream might just be behind for him.
Yeah, very possibly. But my like with again, like I'm not pushing back just for the sake of it. But like I've spoke to the guys. We're only a small 10-man guild, and I've said, look, before phase 3 comes, what do you want to do? Like, do we bother recruiting and like go into all that effort, or do we just go and find a guild that will take all of us? So like even me, I'd much rather we have our own guild, but at the same time, mine's for slightly different reasons. Obviously, like my primary focus is going to be on Kata, so I don't want them feeling like they're forced to stay, and then I'm slacking on recruiting because I don't want to recruit because I just want to log on Season of Discovery and raid at the end of the day. So like it's not going to be hard to find a guild that wants to do 20-man. Like if you've been in a guild that are just doing 10-man, and we may end up doing that ourselves. We're going to try and for phase 3, make sure we've got 20 people, which I'd go out on a limb and say we will, but they can't not increase the raid size just because there's 10-man guilds like ours where we haven't got that many people.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too. Oh, go ahead.
All I was going to say is, like, from someone who's raiding in a guild that's already pugging 1 or 2 people every reset currently, most of the people in my raid group at the moment have said they're not interested in playing phase 3 long term.
Yeah. Well,
so they will just disband, and it has put them off the game.
Well, I've said I won't play. When I said I won't play, like, I'm not interested in 40-man. I'll keep playing all the way up until the point it goes to 40-man, and then I'm probably done with Season of Discovery as well. Unless there's something to do that is 10, 20-man, something like that. But I don't like 40-man raiding. Like, I like what I like. It's like no one's going to convince me to stay playing the game and do 40-man raiding, because I'll just go and play RAF. I'll go and play Kata. I'll go and play private servers. Like, I'll go and play the raid sizes that I enjoy. And I think 40-man raiding is going to be an absolute fucking shit show in Season of Discovery, quite honestly. Do I think the devs are capable of tuning 10-man and 20-man? Yep. Do I think they're capable of tuning 40-man for all the runes that we're going to have by level 60? Not a fucking prayer. Like, literally, no chance.
We've literally already seen us kill STV world bosses at level 40.
Yeah.
And, like, we're able to tank hits and things like that. Like, that boss is harder than Rag.
Yeah. And we're already doing the DPS that people would have been doing in Molten Core as well. Like, we're a lot more than what people would have been doing in Molten Core at 60. Like, there's going to be so much work required for them to make 40-man challenging and interesting with everything that we've got. That I don't know. I just think the development behind that is huge.
Oh, so the PvP zones.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be one either, if I'm honest.
I've just looked at the roadmap, and there is no active mention of a PvP zone at 60 either.
Yeah.
It does say end game activities, but it doesn't specifically mention a PvP zone. I'm not going to lie, I prefer PvP to PvE. If there's not a PvP zone, I'm going to be pretty disappointed.
Well, if there was then, Jay, so if there was a PvP zone, what would you like it to be, and what do you think it would be? You know what I mean? So you might like it to be Westfall, but like, where do you realistically think it would be?
I think the shout of something like Searing Gorge is a good idea, but that's more likely to be 60 in my opinion than 50.
60,
I was just looking,
thinking Plague Lands.
Well,
sure.
60 I'd have said Burning Steppes, like 60 Burning Steppes, 50 Searing Gorge. Because they still revolve around the big central point where world PvP happens, but Searing Gorge, obviously you'd go and level in Searing Gorge at like 44, 45. Up until probably like 50 Searing Gorge, I'd say, something like that. So it sort of fits.
Well, what type of event would you want to? Like a capture the flag, a capture the base where you have to stand there and have the thing go one way or the other? Like the Zenger Marsh.
I'd like
thing,
one that I
mean?
don't have to do, but I can have the loot from it at the end.
I think what you just said, Go, would kind of work. Something similar to like the Zengar Marsh towers. That probably. I don't know.
I think they have to avoid raiding, like raid groups. I think SDV was so much better than Ashen Vale because it went, here is a maximum group size, so there's more parties, there's more people involved. I also love the idea that it was free for all because, you know, it just always feels full. Every time you go to SDV, it feels like there's a lot of people there. And that's because there's your faction and another faction. I don't know, like, I would like to see some sort of like King of the Hill type thing.
That's it. Literally, I swear to God, I was just thinking King of the Hill. Those exact words was what I was thinking as you said it, and I was thinking in the bottom of the slag pit. So you've got to take the elevators down, or you've got the ramp that goes down, or you can jump down and slow fall and shit. Like if you've got the ability to be able to do things like that, but there's limited ways down to the bottom of the slag pit where there'd be choke points. Like that in Searing Gorge I'm talking about, obviously. Like that'd be pretty sick. And the more of your faction that are holding, you know, that are present at the flag or the point, you know, your bar's gonna move across, like something like that. I don't think that's gonna happen, but it'd be cool.
I mean, you could do 5-man group King of the Hill, where, you know, once you've captured it, you get a buff, which means that you're kind of the defending bosses. You know, you then get killed and the next group takes it, whoever gets the killing blow or whatever, some crazy thing.
That would be cool.
Yeah, so like you become the encounter, basically.
Yeah, so you're doing like, maybe you've got like 200% extra health and you're doing 100% extra damage. So now the other groups are going to have to work together to not kill each other, but to kill you who control it. And now one of those groups is going to take it over. And then it's just constantly, but with a max party size of 5. I think that would be insane.
That's pretty cool, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. But like, there's definitely ways that they can make it really cool and still do something with it. I think just to not do a PvP event. So I've always thought that they wouldn't do a PvP event at 50 because, I mean, the BGs, right? The first one was Wilson Gulch, second one Arathi Basin. We don't have another BG till 50 to 60, obviously AV.
Yeah.
So they could do something where it takes us. I mean, they've got so many options. They could take us into Heil for all it matters and have like a push, you know, capture Mount Heil. Or like they've got zones there that are in the game that just aren't being used.
Yeah. I mean, like Ghostlands and like the Blood Elf and Draenei area. No, not Draenei. Blood Elf though. That's actually attached to the map at least, isn't it? The other one's on a separate
what about
island.
the 3 hour, 30-minute cadence that they have right now with like the events? So it's like Ashenvale is kind of like on the same timeline as STV is. Do they just have it continue on? So now it's just like after STV ends, Ashenvale starts. After Ashenvale ends, Syrian Gorge starts. After Syrian Gorge ends, and then it's just like 30 minutes per event, and you could go around the world and do all the events, or do they change that up somehow?
I mean, does anyone do Ashenvale?
Just for the rep. I'm sitting there in Splinter
Okay,
right now, but yeah, I'm not actually like worried whether or not I win it. You know what I
Are
mean?
people
Like,
actually doing it though? Yeah, to echo Jay's point, are there people actually killing the mini bosses? Oh, there is. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we killed the first boss. I ran to the second one. I did get my item for the drum quest off the first boss, but I went to the next one, and because you went to the restroom before we started. If you wouldn't have gone to the restroom, I probably would have stopped. But there was some PvP action going on there, like at their that second boss. So it was like Alliance was there fighting us. I was like, okay.
I went to Ashenvale the other day to see if I could solo a mini boss, and there was 0 people that I could see in the zone.
Yeah, well, that was the same for me. That was why I asked. I went there when an event started. I don't know, without exaggerating, probably last week, I would say, at some point last week. And there was no one, literally not a person. And I was just stood there like, there was no like group chat, you know, saying, looking for more West or anything like that. It was just empty. But maybe now people are, you know, they've done all what they need to do and they're trying to go back and get Warsong Gulch rep, so.
They might have came back for the XP because this was on NA where it was active. So it could be people leveling their alts and they're like, oh yeah, I need to get this rep. Well,
that's true, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at different zones that it could be. Sorry, I'm just looking at different zones that are in the right level range. They could do some crazy stuff with Tanara.
Yeah, Tanarus would be cool.
Oh yeah.
But then, like, keep adding stuff. Like, I the only reason I don't like the whole STV event, like outside of the actual PvP aspect of it, is that it's STV, you know, and it's such a great zone to quest in. That I know it's only 30 minutes every 3 hours. That it's, you know, more or less just not viable to even level there. But like Tanarus, yeah, actually Tanarus is not that bad. It's got some good quests, but it's not quite as, well, it's nowhere near as jam packed as STV. But imagine doing the turtle escort quest and you're halfway across.
I was just thinking that.
You're halfway across the map and then the PvP event kicks off.
Oh, that'd be epic.
Especially how I do it, because I do it a really long way. I don't know if anyone else does it the same way. I do the chicken and the turtle at the same time. So I go and get the turtle escort, and then I run to the chicken and start that one, and then take them both back at the same time. Can you imagine being nearly back and the PvP event starts and you get killed?
What if that is the PvP event? It's just escorting the turtle.
Escorting the turtle. Oh my god, can you imagine? That would go on for years.
Hey, that'd be kind of cool though. Some kind of like Overwatch push the payload type of
yeah.
That would actually be pretty cool.
Like and protect your boss. If your boss dies, your faction
like escort.
loses.
Yeah,
an escort in the turtle. That would be legendary because like everyone hates that quest. Do you know what I mean? That is like, yeah, that would be really cool. Okay, so we're fairly in a agreement on Sunken Temple most likely going to be the next raid.
I'm not happy about it.
Yeah,
not happy,
most
but
likely. But yeah, it's like, is it the best choice? I don't know. I know we've had some pushback on it, but Maradon, I don't think Mara's that bad of a choice. But holding 20 people, I'm trying to think like size wise of the caverns. Would it make sense to have 20 people rolling through there? I think it would.
No, not. I wouldn't say. In the side, is it purple where you go to the tree boss? Not tree, but you know, like he's a sapling type thing. You know, I mean, he's the last boss if you're doing RDF of one of the wings.
The tree.
He's like a little tree. He's like a little tree, the tree type boss. Yeah.
Like right before the waterfall where you jump down?
Well, no, because that's princess. That's princess side, isn't it? So you jump down. And princess would
princess.
Whatever her name is. Yeah, the last boss, the big fat farting
I'm
woman.
not talking about. I'm talking about like where the scepter teleports you to.
Yeah, that takes you to the
instead
waterfall.
of jumping off. Yeah, but like right there's that tree boss. Is that who you're talking about? Or maybe it's like a druid.
You're on about the first wing.
Yeah, like the first wing. Razor Lash. Yeah, Razor Lash. Yeah, that's like the last boss of the first wing. Is that not purple?
Yeah. No.
Or orange? I don't know. I don't really know what colours what. I use RDF. I just go in and it's there. But like that, you know, that hallway that all goes round like in the cave, that's all far too small for 20 people. You know,
God, you wouldn't see ground effect.
It's not big enough for 5. You know, like it's already too small. No, I'm not saying like I couldn't care. Like, I don't mind Moradon. It's not my favourite dungeon, but mainly because I live in it quite regularly because it's an amazing place to go and farm mithril. So like just going in and getting mithril and then resetting and rinse and repeating, like it's a really good gold maker. But yeah, I wouldn't want that as well, it's not whether I would or wouldn't want it as a raid. I don't think it fits. I think out of the things that are going to be available, what I would like, actually, like if Blizzard said to me, look, Scott, this phase is for you. You tell us what raid we're going to turn into, what dungeon we're going to turn into a raid. I'd choose Zul'Farrak. Personally,
I agree.
I think that would be such a fucking sick 20-man raid. It's more or less well, it is. It's outdoors. So it's loads of room, big, like, you know, all fighting on the steps for the waves of mobs when you free the NPCs, and then around the fountain doing Gazrilla. Like it would take 20 people. Like that would be what I want. But I'd be happy with Sunken Temple. You know, like if Sunken Temple's a raid, I would be excited to do it because I do actually like Sunken Temple. But what one do I think would be the best 20-man raid? I would say Zul'Farrak, but it would fuck my leveling plans up. So, Agrand, if you're watching, no. I put your picture up there. That's how much respect I've got for you. So, no. Do not fuck my leveling plans up.
I mean, they'd have to do something with Mara, too, because Mara is another mage AoE grind boosting instance.
We just have to be ready for mages to be level 50 in 6 hours of the phase being released.
Yeah.
It's just going to happen. Like, there's nothing we can do about it. But, like, I believe Sunken Temple was supposed to have been a raid in the original, like, classic.
Oh, possibly. Like, I don't know.
I've heard that somewhere. I don't know how true it is, but I've heard that somewhere. Like, it's a cool idea, and it has, like, a decent story into it. The mind control boss is just going to ruin every raid possible.
And that's why I would prefer ST to not. I'm sure they're going to change mechanics, but it's like, to me, the princess fight as the last fight of a raid would be much better than that sleep mechanic, and then somebody just gets one shot because the boss slept the main tank.
Yeah, but is that going to be the last boss, or is the last boss going to be down at the bottom where you do the puzzle to, you know, and you have to do the statues in the right order? Like, is that going to be the last boss?
They could change the mob. I think the mobs are lower level down there, but I'm sure all the mobs would change level.
Yeah,
anyways.
Exactly. They'd all have to change, and I'd even change the mini bosses.
I used to go. Yeah, I used to go down first, do all of that stuff, and then work my way up. And then the last boss was always that dragon.
So typically, you don't do the bottom. In my experience, you know, like typically you don't even worry about going down the bottom unless you got the quest for it. I remember rightly.
Well, to please your raid, you go bottom first.
Oh, of course.
Just saying.
Of course.
Then you go top.
But, like, you know, in all seriousness, though, like, the things in Sunken Temple, if it is Sunken Temple, like, I think that the bottom being unlocked once you've cleared all the top would make sense, and it's a bit of a puzzle boss. I know, it would only be, like, within fucking a few hours of the first guild going in and working it out that then it's gonna, you know, be easy. But being a puzzle boss for guilds that want to go in blind, like we will, like I always encourage us to go in blind and just work it out and see what happens. Like, fuck it, if we wipe, we wipe. It's season of discovery. Like, what's the point of going in there knowing every mechanic? Like, go in and just work it out. But the small little mini bosses that all drop, like, I've got a chance at dropping random blues. It would be cool if they were linked. So like if I was Blizzard, I would have it so maybe you had, as it's 20 man, maybe you had to split your raid. And like so the bosses are not particularly hard, but they all need to die at the same time. And you had to literally go in like 2s or 3s to each. So you had to clear round and then go in 2s and 3s to each platform and then kill all of them at the same time. Like something like that. So then only one or 2 items drop. But I just think, you can't have an item dropping off all of those, can you? So you want it all. You want them all tied together as one encounter. Are you listening, Blizz? Doing your fucking job for you.
That is a really good idea. That would feel so epic too, because you could see everyone else, across all the platforms too.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought when you're doing it as well. And like, who knows by then what runes are you going to have? Like, you might have life grip as a priest or something like that. So then you're cheesing ways of being able to grip people from one platform to the other, or maybe you've got heroic leap and you can like jump off one and mid-air heroic leap onto the next. Like, it would, they could do something pretty special with it. But they're probably under the hammer, and it'll just be, shit. Here's hoping.
Jesus. Well, make you thinking positively.
Well, do you know what I mean? Like, you can make something really epic, but they are on a really, really tight schedule on getting this content out every fucking 8 to 10 weeks. It'd be lovely for them to have a lot more time and be able to do these things. But then we have to be realistic, and odds are they haven't got the raid finished yet. As in while we're still doing phase 2, I highly doubt the level 50 raid is finished, ready to launch. It might be. Agron said to me in the interview that that they already knew all the runes, what everyone's going to have at level 60 and all of that. But I don't know. How much effort were they going to put into phase 3 when they didn't know phase 1 was going to be a success?
That was actually going to be, I wanted to ask if you guys thought the same way that I did. Was I felt like they were, so unsure of how phase 1 was going to be received that they were like kind of taken, caught off guard with how well it was received in the beginning. And they were like, holy shit, we actually need to like follow up with this and like make, some crazy shit. And I really do, they're putting in a ton of work and it's absolutely awesome. But I honestly think that is what happened. So
I agree, but I also then think like other aspects of WoW will suffer because of that. Be it like, obviously, again, of course, I'm going to talk about Wrath and Kata because that's what I'm playing and what I'm excited for. But that will suffer. It's already been pushed back. Like, the reason it was pushed back is because the development time's going into Season of Discovery. So like, at the same time, it's great taking on this mammoth task, but you can't then neglect a big amount of the player base. We're not talking like, if you was to look at Classic Era and it was like, oh, Classic Era is being neglected, like, fuck it. There's like, I don't know, 15,000 people raiding, but then like on Wrath, there's like nearly 250,000 people raiding, where that then people can't be neglected because of this new baby that's doing well at the moment. But who knows what it's going to be doing come phase 3, phase 4, phase 5, like when it starts to see a drop off. You've only got to look at like classic hardcore, like that's fucking dead because of SOD. Then like what effect is Kata gonna have? People are saying like, oh, Kata's dead on arrival, but is it? How many people are going to actually like go back to it and get hooked instantly, and then Season of Discovery sees a decline? Like, I don't know.
I think they'll kind of play hand in hand, to be honest. I mean, and also what you just said, I think goes both ways, right? So we have Cataclysm, coming up. So is that why phase 2's rune acquisitions were lackluster and stuff like that? Like, like you said, the development is split between these two things. So yeah, it can definitely hurt some aspects, but at the same time, I do think for a lot of people, maybe it's, not that it's hurting things, that's not a good thing, but maybe the two of them being around is a good thing, right? So like you play Kata for a month or two, you're kind of raid logging, whatever, and then level 60 drops in Season of Discovery. You're like, oh, okay, I'm going to go back. We'll play that for like a month. So it kind of gives you, you know, someone who strictly wants to play Classic, right? You have like those two options. And I mean, I know myself and like my guild, that's like kind of our plan, right? I'm not as into Cataclysm as you are. I'm excited to play it for sure, and you know, just because I remember playing it and I had a lot of fun. But I think like that's kind of what I'm looking forward to is having the option to kind of jump to one for a month or two here and there, go back to the other one, and kind of always having something to do in Classic that's not just super stagnant.
Yeah, and I couldn't have said it better myself. Like literally, that is my exact plan, and that's how I'm hoping it plays out, and how they're doing, you know, the release schedule of both games. Like I'd love that once phase 1 of Kata is like on farm, they know, yeah, look, you know, phase 1's been out for 6 weeks or whatever. You know, like now we'll go with the next phase of Season of Discovery. So our guild are now farming phase 1 content in Kata. We can put more time into Season of Discovery. That starts to get a bit stale. We're all then back on Kata. Like that is literally exactly how I hope it plays out, and how I'm going to be playing the game.
So I have to. Someone's just made a point, and I think it's been something I've just sat there and pondered for 5 minutes. Is something very early on pre-phase 1 when they were in the announcement and all the interviews.
Who was it? So I can put their comment on screen.
Oh no, someone in Discord.
Oh, okay. I can't put that on screen.
No. But they've mentioned that in phase 1 or pre-phase 1, they talked about how this was a testing phase for them to eventually go forth into something that could be Classic Plus. I'm wondering if they're now changing their mentality a little bit, if now they're trying to create a fleshed out product, or if we're expecting a fleshed out product.
I was expecting a fleshed out product, and then I came to the realization that this is a seasonal server. So I'm still getting big vibes that they're treating this as seasonal and not like they want us to be playing like full time. Do you
think the community is seeing it that way?
No, I don't think they are.
No,
I think. I mean, just look at Cypherpunk's comment. You know, like he's definitely a Season of Discovery player. You know, like they're very easy to spot, like because they can't actually sort of, you know, look further than what you're playing. You know, it's like it is not helpful. So anybody who hopes or even thinks Kata's dead on arrival, you're harming yourself. Because if you love Season of Discovery, the only money it's making is the subscription money. If all you play is Season of Discovery, your subscription, that's all they've got to go on. Cataclysm and MOP and all the future expansions is what allows Season of Discovery to even exist. Like, you know, along with retail, obviously. But the digital deluxe editions, the character boost, the token, all that shit is what allows Season of Discovery to exist. So I pray to fucking God, not because I enjoy Cataclysm, because yes, I do, but I want it to do well, and I want it to continue. I want them to get that big influx of money when the MOP, you know, when MOP eventually comes as well, because that's what allows them to do this.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that on the back of the success of things like Kata and MOP, we're then going to get Classic Plus.
I just hope it's not like this, because I don't class this as Classic Plus. Like, this is not what I would consider Classic Plus. I think it's a good test bed, you know, as in, like, absolutely how do the classes play in a vanilla setting with these abilities, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, in a Classic Plus environment, you're obviously going to want to actually get these things from trainers, and, you know, it's not really going to be runes. You would expect the world to be redesigned like it is in Kata. You know, like, in all seriousness, you know, the questing system and everything, like, they basically took vanilla but you could say they bastardized it if you don't like it, or they made it better if you do like it. But, like, Classic Plus has got to go along those lines. It's not just going to be runes and, like, I think
you have quite a extreme mindset of what Classic Plus is going to be, though.
Oh, go on, in what way?
Well, no, so, I mean, look at how the community looked at, like, prior to BlizzCon, we had people talk about Classic Plus, right? I did videos talking about it, got a lot of community feedback about it. And you had some people that wanted Classic as it was with development, right? So they took Classic Vanilla and they just carried on developing it and patches, which I never really understood because that's just TBC. You had people like yourself where it was like, well, here's this better version. Let's do it in a classic environment where we're still going to molten core and things, but we had quality of life. The question's better, the skills are a bit better, the mounts are cooler, whatever that looks like. And then you had people sat at so many different ends of this thing that Blizzard were never going to win with what everyone wants. So, like for me, I would see Season of Discovery as Classic Plus personally at the end of the cycle. As it is now, it's a half-baked product. Obviously, I wouldn't ever pay for a game that's, halfway there, but eventually I would consider this to be a first iteration of Classic Plus.
Yeah, no, that's fair. So my more, what if you was to ask me what Classic Plus is, it would be probably what running on like UE5. We're talking like better, like graphically better, like same nostalgic zones, like the maps and everything would be the same. Even the dungeons would be the same, but just reinvented, recreated in like 2024. That's it. Like every ability could be the same. Heroic Strike, you still get that. You still get it at the same level. Everything the same, but it's we're talking. This is now like 2024 graphics, and yeah, like I don't know, like look at something like Ashes of Creation.
I agree. I was going to say, I think that, and basically what you described right there is like old school RuneScape, right? So basically take the game as it was, remake it for modern times, have it still be classic, and then, even do what they do and poll the community to add content to the game. Not necessarily change how every class plays, but just continually add more and more content to the game. I think that would also be successful.
OSRS is a fantastic example of what Classic Plus should be, in my opinion. I think they've absolutely nailed it.
Yeah, and I want to say that with so far, with phase 1 and halfway, or whatever we are through phase 2, that the development team for Season of Discovery has definitely been acting more along the lines of like old school RuneScape, where they are like communicating with the community, whether it be through their personal Twitters or through content creators or whatever. That's not really something that we've gotten a lot of before, right? So, and like that's one thing that that old school RuneScape, like they literally poll their community and say, hey, what content would you guys like to see added in the next patch? And like everyone votes on it. And it's like, okay, so 90% of people want this. Clearly that's going to do well, right? I think that's a great system for a Classic Plus.
Yeah. So I just want to get,
because you're right, there's people want different things, so it's going to be hard to please everybody.
And this is like, I say it all the time, and I do genuinely mean it. The great thing about the WoW sub is it doesn't matter which version of the game you like or play, you've always got the other ones to go on. So, like the fact that Season of Discovery essentially for me is free, because, I'd be playing Wrath anyway, and I get to now play this, which is, if someone said to me, you can have this game and it's free, what a fucking fantastic game to get for free. Taking all the negative things we've said today, take that all away and just think that we would all probably be playing Wrath anyway, and we've now got this game for free. And that's where I just want your take on the pinned comment that I've just put on screen, because he's saying what I said was a bad take. And like I personally... And again, like, I don't want you to agree, like, be as critical as you want, tear me apart. I happily sit here and take it. But while players, maybe this guy in particular who commented, the Mountain, maybe he did come back specifically for Season of Discovery. But I do feel like Season of Discovery is probably not gained ridiculous amounts of subs. It's not like all of those hundreds of thousands of people that are raiding are new subscriptions for Blizzard. It's more moving the players from Wrath, from Retail, from Classic Era, from Hardcore. Look at how big Hardcore was. Hardcore's dead since Season of Discovery launched. Literally all the people that I know that played Hardcore or raided on Hardcore, they're all now playing Season of Discovery. It's more a movement of what game version they're playing, but they're still subscribed. That's how I see it. So why, like, you know, obviously he's saying without SOD players, there wouldn't be people playing WoW. I call bollocks personally, but
I'd still be playing Wrath if SOD wasn't here. I'd be a Wrath Andy, and I'd be doing achievements right now because Wrath has been out. This last phase has been out for what, 22 weeks? I think somebody pointed out earlier. Like ICC, Ruby Sanctum came out a couple weeks ago, but still, like ICC is the main focus of content right now, and that's been out for months.
Well,
So
while
I'd
you
still
guys
be
give
there,
your,
but
I just want to go for a piss go and get a drink. But while you guys are giving your opinions on this, everyone in chat, there's over a couple of hundred of you, a few hundred of you, including Kick as well. Like, what was you actively subscribed to WoW before Season of Discovery, or did you subscribe to WoW for Season of Discovery? Spam away and carry on.
I've had people tell me that they've came, like, they're fresh to the game, like they haven't played WoW before and they're playing SOD because of the concept of SOD, and I thought that was really cool. I've heard so many different, like, people say so many different things. It's hard to figure out, like, what is causing people to do what. It's like people are stopping playing the game because GDKBs got banned. People are joining the game because GDKBs got banned. How is that affecting the population overall? Is there more on one side than the other? Like, I don't know. But without SOD, I'd still be playing Classic. I have no interest in playing retail. So
I mean,
I'd still be playing.
WoW in general has been on a decline in terms of player base for a long, long time. And it's nice that we now have something that, you know, we can group and, you know, play different games. Like I personally, I love different versions of WoW. So I do play Wrath. I will play Kata. I play SOD, and retail. So for me, I'm getting 4 games worth for a tenner a month. In fairness, most months I don't pay for it because I get a WoW token on retail. I go and do some Mythic Plus boosts and I get a WoW token. I haven't paid for my sub in a while, which is great. So in terms of value for money, I think it's great. And if you're only playing it for 1 or 2 versions, it's still good. But I also do think that Blizzard have spread themselves way too thin.
There are a lot of options. That's fair.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
What?
I mean, we have 4 versions of just Classic alone. If you really think about that,
That's not enough.
That's
I
a
want
lot.
more. I want Mop. I want Mop to launch at the same time as Kata. Yeah, but you know,
and we need TBC era servers.
Yeah, and we need RAF era servers. I actually
And
was
RAF
thinking
era
about
servers.
this. I'm not joking. I having come back to RAF now. Well, when I say come back, I never really left. You know, I was raiding every couple of weeks still, all through Season of Discovery. But now spending 90% of my time on RAF, I like really quickly realised, which again, people in chat, you're not going to agree with me. That's fine. Whatever. You're wrong. I'm right because I've got a microphone. I could do RAF again from the start right now. I genuinely, I could go back to level 1 on a fresh RAF server and I could do it again. Nax, Alduar, TOGC, and I would enjoy it. But I'm a private server player. That's what I like. I like fresh. I'd go and play a Mop server tomorrow. I'd play a Kata server tomorrow. TBC, maybe not, maybe phase 1, but you know, I like that. And I think RAF has done really well, even up until this point. And I think not having a RAF era server, I'd play a RAF era server, even during Kata, during SOD. It might be in 2 months, 4 months, 5 months time. I'd go do an ICC clear just for fun if the boys were up for it.
Speaking of Wrath Fresh, I'd like to take a minute to thank our sponsor of today's episode, whitemain.gg, which is launching a fresh server on March 29th.
Are you trying to get me in trouble?
No,
I've said.
I was just on the website yesterday and I saw that there was a new Wrath thing. It was just funny that you mentioned it. We're not sponsored. Hashtag not sponsored.
And I know we've talked about it before, but if they did a like vanilla level 1 to Wrath server that took place over the course of like 18 months, I'd do it.
Yes, I was just about to say that, dude. That I was gonna say I would love exactly what you said, Scotty, but a little bit different. I would rather it be a progressive server. Where we start in vanilla, right? We hit 60. We have, let's say, 6 months, super fast phases, play through the game, go into TBC for 6 months, play through it. Then we hit Wrath for 6 months. Like, just knowing that that is coming, right? There's no like guessing. You know exactly what's coming. You can prepare for it. Everything's already figured out. Like, we all love playing that way anyway. So you know what's coming. You're like, oh, I want to play my Warlock and my Mage in TBC, but I'm obviously going to play my Warrior in this first, vanilla. Like, I think that would be incredibly popular, even with 0 changes to it. I think a progressive server that was marketed as a progressive server with the timelines already set in stone before it launched would actually be popular.
I'd love to go and find a video, but I made a video about doing exactly that like 2 years ago.
Yeah, that would be
might not have been my.
So
We've
the funny
talked about
we spoke about it.
Video.
Yeah, and I'd done a video talking about it doing exactly that. Maybe not 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half ago, whatever. And that video was out for about 2 weeks, and then Warmain done it.
Yes, was it Warmain?
Yeah, it was Warmain. Yeah, I don't know if they've actually launched it, but it was Warmain that announced that they was going to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a luck of the draw. Definitely not linked.
Absolutely not. But no, I'd play that because I would even muscle through the bits that I don't like, just as you say, just because you know what's coming.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know what's coming. You could prepare for it, get all the classes you want for the next expansion ready. Like, I don't know. That's how most of the classic player base plays already. So like building something that kind of caters to that mindset, is it really a bad thing? I mean, that's pretty much what everyone does with every version of the game that comes out anyway, right? Even Season of Discovery is all about discovery, but 95% of people are just waiting until the runes are found on Wowhead and then going and getting their runes, right? So I really think that would be a huge thing. I think that would be really popular, and I would play the shit out of that.
Yeah, I'd 100% play it. But again, it's the same way I'm playing Season of Discovery. I got my one character, love my character, doing everything on it that I want to do, but at the same time, then continuing on into Kata and doing that. So I'd see a server like that where it's moving quite fast, where you would expect then accelerated XP rates and, the standard sort of thing that would come with that, where it'd be a great game to play alongside whatever you're playing, whether it's retail or classic or Season Discovery or whatever, where you can, but then at the same time, you need to make sure that the developers have got the resources to be able to actually keep on top of like multiple versions of the game.
Yeah. Right.
Which I have to say, at the moment, doesn't feel like they do.
No, it's all Season of Discovery, and they'll shift like the wind. As the wind blows in one direction, they'll go with it and put their focus there. But we'll see when the Kata beta comes out and they've made some fantastic changes. We'll all be like, oh, actually, no, they are focusing on both.
I hope they do. I hope they genuinely, that survey was a good indication and they change things in Kata for the best. But if I had to put money on it, I don't think it's going to happen. And I don't think anyone does, really.
No, I think they're currently downloading Whitemane's game files. and they're putting it on their servers. Right, okay, look, we've got like 10 minutes max. So the last bit, anyway, is what you'd like to see in Phase 3 in terms of runes. So you can talk specifically class, because we've got Jay, Warlock, we've got Hammer, Warrior, and Rogue, we've got Go, Druid, and Druid, and then we've got me, Mage, and I could comment on a couple of other classes, but do you want to start, Hammer? Yeah, Hammer, you go. So Warrior and Rogue, what runes would you like to see in the next phase?
Well, obviously for Rogue, I would definitely like to see some like Fan of Knives, right? You have like almost no cleave, you have almost no AoE. It feels horrible in raid watching. Yeah, I mean, we're doing like trash pulls in Nomer, and even on my Warrior, right, with like Dragon's Breath and Whirlwind and Sweeping Strikes, I'm hitting like 1.5k on some of these trash packs as a Warrior. And as a Rogue, that feels really bad. Being able to, you're just sitting there hitting one target while your entire raid is just blasting these things down. Like, you know, that's fun. It's easy. Like, you love seeing the meters shoot up. So for Rogue, for me, cleave, some serious cleave. Fan of knives, right? Like, that's just, why would they not do that? I think that would work. And specifically for Warrior, like I was saying before, I don't even want any more power necessarily, because I think that eventually we're going to just become ridiculously powerful just because of scaling. I just want more like fun class fantasy type runes, right? They really haven't gotten any at all. Like, we got the ability to charge in any stance, like that's cool. You know, like,
Whoa,
like
exciting.
really, what else? Every one of my runes is like, oh, just do this to keep this damage buff up right now, and you know, make sure you're just auto attacking to 80 rage and then dumping your rage, but don't dump too much. Make sure you auto attack back up to 80. Like, if you're playing, you know, if you're playing like Fury, I think that it would be really good for Warriors to get some cool stuff like that. Like I keep coming back to Heroic Leap. Like, that is something that just makes playing the class feel better. It feels more fun. You have a little bit more mobility. You can't get kited as easy. And some form of sustain, right? Like, we got Enrage Regeneration, but I'm not sure if maybe it was Mop, where Warriors had like the extremely broken version of Second Wind. I think it was Mop.
It was Mop.
Yeah.
It was disgusting.
Yeah, like something like that. Obviously not that broken, but like it's anything that just makes it like, if you're playing a Warrior, you cannot fight 1v1s in world PvP. There's so much focus on world PvP and being out in the world. You're supposed to be doing all this stuff. And when you're playing Warrior, you don't want to do that because it's not fun. I literally, like I told you guys before, I 1v1 to Warrior at level 28 on my Rogue. Warrior's level 40. So it's just not fun. And I think that for Warrior, they need to get some things that change how the class is played, not even necessarily some super powerful things, just things that'll make the class feel different to play than it's felt for these two phases. Because right now, it just feels pretty much exactly like a vanilla Warrior. It's the same thing.
You didn't mention Bladestorm, did you?
Oh, Bladestorm, of course. Yeah.
I mean,
that's a given.
That's got to come.
Yeah, that's a given. But I don't know. It just, to me, it feels really. I stick with it because it's like my main class, right? I know how to play it the best. I do really well at it, and I like powering through even now when we're just absolutely terrible. But it just feels bad, and it sucks that I can play any other class that I've leveled in phase 1 in this phase, and I have more fun than playing my main. And I think that they could do a lot better than that.
Okay, all right, we'll go back to you for Rogue.
They have this fear that they're going to make Warriors too strong or something, and like that's why they won't add stuff, and like that bothers me so much. Like, just doesn't need to be stuff that even does damage. Just make it fun, you know, like. That's all. I'm done ranting now.
But yeah, if I was Blizzard, I'd be a little bit worried that we're gonna make Warriors too strong as well.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. We'll go back to you for Rogue. So Jay, Warlock. I mean, you can pipe up on Shaman as well if you want.
Give me Immolation Aura. It was data mined in phase 2.
Yes.
And we never got it. And it broke my little heart. I genuinely nearly re-rolled seeing that we didn't get Immolation Aura. Like, we have no form of AoE. It's horrible. Give me Immolation Aura, and I would like a Soulwell.
Quality of life. Okay. Yeah. So quality of life.
If I got those two things in phase 3, I don't want anything. I don't need anything else. The class is very fun as it is. Give me those two things, and I'm happy.
Okay. I feel like this one might take some time, but you're going to have to hurry it along. Cheers, Cody. Thanks for becoming a member. Everyone else, you want to become a member? £1.99. You want egg fried rice? I don't know. Go.
All right, the first of
keep it short.
8 rune ideas that I have. I don't know how they buff us. I really don't. I'd like some changes to current runes. I know we're talking future runes, but something I've been thinking of is like once we get to 4 lunar and solar eclipse stacks, we just kind of sit there in fights. So it's like there's a little bit of ramp up time to get 4 stacks of each. So it's like if there was an additional rune that I guess interacted with Eclipse. They could do it that way. It's like each stack of lunar, you get 5% extra arcane damage. Each stack of solar, you get 5% extra nature damage or something. So it could be busted in PvP. I don't know. There's so many different things to take into account with runes. I hate thinking about it because I'm like, fuck. But like hurricane, gale winds, that was one that was data mined for us before
That'll be
even
in at
SOD
50.
launched. It needs to be changed. Like I wanted to see Nest put out a video, and it got me thinking about like if hurricane ticks could crit and apply dream state, so then each hurricane tick would take 20% extra nature damage. That'd be fucking insane. Like I would love to see that type of rune for AoE. Because I'm kind of like Hammer. It's like I've got one AoE ability. I think rogues have one AoE ability right now that can hit like 5 targets or something. Or like Shuriken Toss or something.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it's like Hurricane feels bad, Shuriken Toss feels bad. But if they made our AoE feel good, then they would make me feel good.
Do you not just want Starfall?
No, because Starfall is... It was a meme and when it came out in Wrath, right? Like, oh, you're gonna pull the whole fucking raid, and sure enough, Balanced Druids were pulling all of the fucking raid.
What about mushrooms?
That's one thing that's kind of not got me hyped for Kata is the whole mushroom thing.
Oh, so much fun. Are you joking?
I don't know.
It's literally the best thing ever is getting into not Lunar. What's the other one? Solar. Getting into solar. Getting into solar and spamming mushrooms. Nothing beats it. Like, that is so much fun. Obviously, you need macros to make sure you're placing them at cursor so you're not constantly clicking, but like, oh my god, mushrooms would be amazing.
Presetting your mushrooms to
before I fight,
just as the tank starts pulling.
Yeah, and just rip threat when we have no threat reduction. So there's a rune idea. We need some threat reduction, or that could be a quality of life book too. Like fuck it,
reduces threat by 100%.
We need at least 30% threat reduction minimum somehow.
Do boomies need threat reduction right now?
Yes, we can we can get an Eclipse proc, like Star Surge proc for Starfire to be like boosted 80%. We can get that pre-pull and then time the timer so that we're hitting that Starfire and a Star Surge right on pull, and then the tank can taunt. I guess they can hope they get threat.
I kind of want to tank a raid that you're in because I'm not gonna lie.
Flow's never lost
any threat issue.
Flo has never lost aggro to a boomy. Let's just put it that way. He's lost aggro to me as a fire mage, and I've died and lost my world buffs on the first boss, and I've been very angry at him, thinking he's a very naughty boy. But to a boomy,
I'm playing in pug raids, guys. Pug tanks, they can't hold fucking threat for shit.
Well, that's
right. We've got to be quick. We've got to be quick. You both of you boys have got to go and raid in 15 minutes, and I'm in mine now.
I'm in the raid. I'm in my raid.
I'm in mine as well. I mean, there's still people being invited. But okay, so mage for me. I'm gonna be realistic. I would like Firestarter, the funny enough, the Cataclysm version. Haters gonna hate. Not the Wrath version. So Wrath version of Firestarter makes Flame Strike instant cast after using Dragon's Breath or Blast Wave. I want Firestarter that allows you to cast Scorch while moving.
Oh yeah.
That would be crazy.
Mate, fucking give me that. That would be amazing. I'd like to see mirror images. Mirror images would be great, and invis would be great. I don't care whether that's at like next phase or the phase after, but any of those three, I would take any of those three. If I was talking arcane, so like for healing, I would like to see some sort of arcane orb, so a bit like flame orb, but an arcane orb that travels through and leaves
they used to have
hots on people. Well, yeah, I mean
they had like the damage version, right?
I
think there was an arcane orb thing.
Well, you've got flame orb. You've got flame orb, and if you go frost, you can have frost fire orb.
Did
I'd like to see an arcane one.
Did mages not have like the temporal anomaly thing from retail data mine for them?
Maybe
sends an orb forward and puts a shield on everyone.
Yeah, that one. Yeah. Whereas I'd prefer that it travelled through and applied beacons to everyone.
Yeah.
And obviously it does damage as well. That then heals those people that have got beacons like that. Like so something along those lines. So that would be fire. Fire. Let's say scorch while moving, invis / mirror images for whatever spec. Arcane. I'd like to see an arcane orb type thing that just assists you while you're moving, because that still would be nice. Frost. Probably the pet. I mean, the elemental. Yeah, water elemental. But as a on a 3-minute cooldown, but it's permanent.
See, you're asking for all these pets. You're asking for mirror images in the the water alley. I don't want treants.
Well, mirror images is not used for the pets. Mirror images is used for threat. Yeah, so it's
same as invis.
An invis. Yeah, but invis you use like I don't like dying. I don't like losing my world buffs. Like next phase, if I could get invis and when everyone dies, I can invis and not lose my world buffs. Like that would be perfect. But they would be my, obviously time warp at 60 when shamans have got lust. Yeah, of course, like that goes without saying. But in terms of next phase. Any of those. I'm not saying all of them, but just any of them.
In Classic?
I would imagine they're going to get Lust. No, it's TBC, but I would imagine they're going to get Lust. So mages will get Time Warp. Yeah, 100%. I will eat my hat if shamans don't get Lust at level 60. At which point mage should get Time Warp. But people were saying Time Warp at level 40. It's like, no, fuck that. Like that's for raids, like proper raids.
I hope Agron sees this and doesn't add it just so you have to eat your hat.
Well, and I will, because I
mid-phase after that's eaten.
I genuinely do not see a world where we're raiding at level 60 without lust without lust as a bare minimum. I would say.
I hope they don't add lust.
I mean, I hope they don't. But I do think they will.
Vanilla friction.
Yeah, and they know all about the friction. Okay, Rogue. What would you like to see for Rogue, Hammer?
For Rogue, like I was saying, I think Fan of Knives would be the number one thing. I also think the redirect book should just not be a thing. And I think that they should just allow combo points to transfer between targets without having to push a button to do that. I have never done it once, and I don't think I ever will. I just feel like it was it could have just been like the Mage Water situation, in my opinion. I don't know if that's going too far. But that is another thing that just, it feels really, really bad and it's not even just targeting something else. If you accidentally just do anything, you lose all of your combo points on your target. And I know that that's, how Classic has pretty much always been. But I do think with all these quality of life changes and all these classes getting everything, I really don't see the harm in doing that for rogues, especially since that's their main thing. I can see leaving it in the game for feral druids, right? Because it's like a hybrid tax kind of thing. But definitely think that should be added for rogues, 100%.
Okay, Jay. Sorry, go on.
I was just gonna say for a current rune that like Go said before, he said, I think rogues have an AoE too, Shuriken Toss. I wouldn't even classify it as that, Go, to be honest. It's just used for pulling. It does no damage at all. You're better off just shooting with a bow at that. Like, it does absolutely nothing. I mean, the only use for it is if you're tanking to just get a little bit of initial threat on, a group of mobs. But other than that, then, the mobs get to you and you have no way to build threat on all of them anyway. So I feel like that ability could be reworked to be something way better.
Okay, Jay, Shaman. I mean, you whether or not you play a Shaman still, you're still the Shaman expert here, so.
Enhance, I'd like to see feral spirits added. I think
in your pets.
It's not necessarily a pet. I want a cooldown. Like I want a button I can press that's fun. At the moment, their rotation is very static. Although it's kind of changed a bit with the recent buffs. They're kind of broken right now. Too broken. They actually need to just be nerfed. But yeah, I mean, I'd like to see Feral Spirits. I'd like to see Fire Ellie for Elemental. Like, that's a massive part of your rotation later on in other expansions. But like, I'd like to see, they just don't have a button right now. And then for Resto, I don't know. To be honest, I don't play Resto because I'm not a Resto player.
Spirit Link, I'll throw it out there.
Spirit Link would be cool.
That would be really cool. Spirit Link.
Yeah.
I'll like for Feral. Obviously, he only spoke about balance, and I'll do it for Gracie. For Feral, me personally, again, like every player's different. I'd like to see Blood in the Water. So when you Ferocious Bite, you can put whatever percentage you like. Like 25 is what it is by default, but with set bonuses, it goes up to 60%, which is huge. But let's say 25%. So when you Ferocious Bite, it refreshes your rip as long as you're Ferocious Biting at less than 25%. So you can keep your bleed up, and you're then using Ferocious Bite as a bit of an execute. I'd love to see that as a rune for Druid, for Feral. Any others? I'd like to see the again, because Ravage in PvE is completely useless. I can't remember what the passive's actually called, but when you use Tiger's Fury, it gives you a free no positioning requirement Ravage. That as well would be quite cool.
I'd like to see Nature Swiftness as well, actually.
Yeah, Nature Swiftness. Yeah, Nature Swiftness would be cool. Or even if it was Nature Swiftness added with, is it Bloodletting? It's called. What's it called? Where when you use a heal, when you use a heal, it increases your next 2 physical damage abilities by, let's say, 25%. So you would use a heal and then increase your next rip's damage. Like, I liked that. I really liked that play style because it took a lot of fucking skill to be able to actually play. But yeah, I would probably go with a non-positioning requirement and use it out of Stealth Ravage after a Tiger's Fury and Blood in the Water. So when you Ferocious Bite, it refreshes rip. So Feral's actually got an execute. I think that would be huge.
And I guess for Resto, we can categorize Cyclone as a Resto spell. So I could get it, Feral could get it, and Resto could get it. Let me get Cyclone.
Yeah, Cyclone. For just really quickly, because we are going to have to end in a couple of minutes and do the goodbyes to everyone. Me personally, like Priest, I'd love to see Leap of Faith. I think that I'd probably level a Priest just to have Leap of Faith, just so I control people around Blackrock Mountain and make them run into the lava. What other classes have we got? What we haven't covered.
Hunters.
Hunter, I'd love to see Aspect of the Fox. But the Aspect of the Fox where it's party-wide, so it's like a 2-minute cooldown, and your party can cast spells while moving. That would be fucking huge. So Hunters have actually got a raid, or a cooldown to use in raids. So you'd have the Hunter in a group, they pop Aspect of the Fox. Now your healers can cast while moving if it's like a heavy movement fight. Any others? Quick, just fire the classes at me.
Paladin.
Did we say anything about Avenging Wrath for Paladins?
No. So we've not said anything at all about Paladin. I'd like to see Inquisition. For Ret, I would say Inquisition.
Ret and Shockaden, Inquisition could be cool for.
Yeah, that would be huge. And I'd say radiating Holy Radiation.
Holy Radiance.
Holy Radiance. They're the words that I'm looking for.
I'd also like to see the movement speed on Judgment.
Yeah, that would be fucking huge for PvP as well. Yeah, Long Armor the Law, or just Armor the Law, something like that.
Paladin's movement is insane. Giving them more movement.
What? Paladin's movement is not that insane. They have freedom.
Yeah, they've got freedom. Don't they already have? Do they have a movement speed increase like standard flat right now, like 15% or anything? Oh,
if they go deep ret, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm worried about ret pallies. Sorry.
They don't do any damage to me because I'm a warlock tank. So
is there any classes we've missed? we need to wrap this up. I said 2 hours.
No,
It's been 3. No, yes, we do. We do. Just because you've got nothing to do, Go. The rest of us are going to raid like real men.
Hey.
Oh,
Hey, I'm gonna get into a wrath raid tonight. I'm gonna go on the Discord.
there
and find it.
there is a
servers you guys
spot
on
at the
Wrath?
moment. Mancrick.
Oh, okay. On Horde?
Horde
Oh, yeah.
Mancrick, yeah.
Wow.
How long till they go, Scott?
There's 1 spot left, and he's just logged on. So we're going to be pulling trash in literally like 30 seconds. So,
Oh, okay.
on that, was there any classes we missed? No, didn't think so.
No.
Thank you guys for coming on. I'll slow it down now. I'm not in that much of a rush to get rid of you, but can you just not talk too much when we're doing the outro bit? So, Hammer, thanks, mate. Always a pleasure. I'm looking forward to joining your guild on Crusader Strike. Where can people find you?
Could find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/hammerdance and on YouTube at youtube.com/@hammerdancegaming. Thank you for having me on, Scott. It's been a blast.
Your
If you wanna-
YouTube is in the description. I'll put your Twitch in there later on tonight.
Sounds
If you
good.
want to see this sexy specimen without his hat on, check out his Twitch channel.
Great. I'm about to raid, and you've got me fucking. Oh, never mind. Jay, where can people find you?
On YouTube at MidJ. And one day I'll make more videos at some point.
Yeah, you have been fucking slacking.
MIJAE.
Honestly, and you might think I'm joking, but I regularly, if I don't see anything from you, I go on your channel just to see if you've posted anything, and you've put like nothing on for about a month. So can you sort that shit out? Because like I need something to watch in the bath, and it's normally you.
I'm okay with that. Do you know, there's a lot of people that watch me in the bath, and I'm not okay with it.
Okay, go. No one cares. Right, guys, I will bid you both farewell. I'll mute you both. Please don't leave Discord just for a couple of minutes, and thank you for coming on.
Right, I gotta go, my raid.
Thanks, guys.
Right, we'll keep this really short. Go. Do you want to say anything? Because I'm literally clearing trash right now.
Next episode next Wednesday, I think.
Next Wednesday, season
yeah.
discovery. Are you around on Saturday for Kata, or are you away?
Not this one.
No,
we'll have to skip this one and start the
we'll
following
start
week.
next week.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the beta should be out by then anyway, so
Hopefully, yeah.
that should probably work. All right, cool. Well, guys, everyone, thank you, guys, girls, whatever. Thank you for any super chats, gifted memberships, joining the channel as a member, just watching. To be honest with you, like all of that other stuff is great. Thank you, but just watching means a lot as well. So we'll see you next Wednesday for more Season of Discovery talk. Hopefully there's some really interesting things to talk about. Peace out. By the way, I'll be on I'll be on Kick again in like fucking 5 minutes. I just need to sort things out, and I'll be there.